Welcome back, True Seeker. It's 1:01 p.m. out here on the West Coast, and I thought that'd be a very fitting time to go over all of the Super Bowls by the numbers. And of course, for a decade, we've been breaking down the Super Bowls before they happened. I learned Gematria between Super Bowls 47 and Super Bowl 48. But as quickly as possible, let's just go back through all 57 prior Super Bowls and just point out the relevance of Gematria in every single Super Bowl. Going back to the times of when Dallas won their first Super Bowl while the city was 131 years old. And of course, if you're new here in Gematria, Super Bowl equals 131. It's a very recurring number with these championships. And just case in point, in week 3 of this NFL season, Andy Reid got his 131st win with the Chiefs over Chicago, where the NFL was originally founded in Chicago. And he also got his 271st all-time win, including his days with the Eagles, which is the 58th prime. And we said right then, Andy Reid has now moved to the top of the pile this year for our Super Bowl futures. And again, here he is in Super Bowl 58, sitting on 58 losses with the Chiefs. So with that idea in mind, let's go back through all of the Super Bowls. And keep in mind, I have a lot more analysis about the last decade's worth of Super Bowls than I do the ones before, because I wasn't breaking down the games and covering the season and understanding Gematria. But still, with the knowledge, you can look back and see what was done. For example, like why Dallas won their first Super Bowl while the city was 131 years old. About ages of places. I'll make a point. Missouri right now, the state, is 202 years old. In Gematria, San Francisco equals 202. Andy Reid's playing his 202nd game in the Super Bowl. Go figure. What are the odds? What are the odds? But yes, let's just go down memory lane, and we'll try to do this as quickly as possible. And I bet there's some things out there that people have observed since they learned the knowledge. They might have studied prior Super Bowls that their cities were connected to. So when I'm done running through this list, we'll open up the phone lines and take some calls. And by the way, yes, this weekend on Patreon, that's where we now decode sports. If you weren't here from 2013 through most of 2018, I put everything out for free. Since September of 2018, we've monetized the majority of the sports work. It's $5 a month on Patreon to get written sports content. Before it was $5 for even live streams, but recently, due to inflation, no, actually, just because it was fair to bump up the price a little bit. If you want all written content plus all live streams for the month, it is $11. And again, we'll be doing everything about the Super Bowl tomorrow, starting 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 Eastern, Saturday on the Patreon. Really breaking down the game, seeing if we can nail some big player props. See if we can get another first touchdown pick correct. Those are always the most lucrative. But yeah, if you do want to join us to break down Super Bowl 58, that's on Patreon tomorrow. So I'm not going to give you every last detail about all these Super Bowls, but just to make it efficient and just very memorable and easy to understand things, and also to make the point of just how the numbers recur and how all of these Super Bowls are an ongoing scripted story. As the announcers often tell you, you couldn't have scripted it any better. Or maybe some games, they flipped the script. So last year, Super Bowl 57. First ever Super Bowl on Lincoln's birthday. Of course, you had the Eagles from Lincoln Financial Field in it. Lincoln freed the slaves. It was the first Super Bowl between two black quarterbacks. The big clue that this was the Super Bowl preseason was when Len Dawson died. R.I.P. to Len Dawson, the Chiefs' great quarterback. He died on August 24th, 2022, on Kobe Bryant Day. Kobe from Philly, who was a big Eagles fan. He died exactly 172 days before the Super Bowl. And in Gematria, Kansas City Chiefs equals 172. This year, the Chiefs beat Baltimore in Baltimore thanks to the Zebras, who didn't have any pass interference or defensive holding calls for Kansas City, even though they had about 1,000 of those in the game. But they kept Harbaugh on 172 wins. And, Kobe, who's so connected to what's been going on with the Chiefs, because, of course, he died right before they went on this run. Funny enough, this year's Super Bowl just happens to be 172 days after Kobe's birthday anniversary. But anyhow, last year, Len Dawson, dead on the 24th of August, 24 days before Mahomes' birthday. Of course, Kobe finished his career in 24. Of course, Patrick Mahomes won his first Super Bowl at age 24, right after Kobe died, representing Missouri, the 24th state. And now here he is in the game right after they put up the Kobe statue in 2024, trying to do what Tom Brady did in 2004 and what Joe Montana did in Super Bowl 24. So, that was really the big thing for Kansas City over Philadelphia last year. And if you watched my coverage of last year's Super Bowl, it was hilarious when they went to the commercial break with Kansas City sitting on the exact amount of points that corresponded with the gematria of Coach Ice. As they went to commercial break, they played that song Coach Ice by Audio Slave, R.I.P. to Chris Cornell. Coach Ice was a Native American war chief in Arizona where the Super Bowl was. And again, by being aware of gematria and the game's rigged, you can just laugh at literally how sick it is when they do these things in the game in real time. And there can be zero doubt in your mind that you're watching a script. And again, like, if I didn't know anything about this and I was listening to somebody speak, I'd look in to see if that was factually true. Then I would find out it was factually true, and then I'd say, okay, I need to pay attention to this. But the average person who's brain dead will look at that and be like, well, that's got to be a coincidence. And it's like, how could that possibly even be a coincidence? Have you ever heard them go to Coach Ice in any sports game break in your life outside of last year's Super Bowl after the Chiefs pretty much put the game away? Okay. So, the year before that, I got to pull this up. I got to pull up the player Billy Cannon. The year before that was Super Bowl 56. Of course, Sean McVay won. And then he brought out his Ukrainian fiance to talk after the game. And the next thing you know, there was a war with Ukraine, and they wear the same colors as the Rams, blue and gold. And the ram is the god of war, Ares. And then next thing you know, NATO was meeting about Ukraine in the time of Ares. But anyway, I want you to see what they did. I actually went down to LSU in 2020 at the time of the last Joe Montana Bowl, Super Bowl 54, to educate about what they did with Joe Burrow and Billy Cannon. And if you don't know who Billy Cannon is, he was the first player for LSU to win the Heisman. The second player to do it was Joe Burrow. And Billy Cannon also beat Clemson in the championship in New Orleans. And then Joe Burrow did the same thing in 2020, just before the Joe Montana Bowl. Notice Billy Cannon is from St. Francisville. But anyhow, if you don't know this, Billy Cannon died the exact same day that Joe Burrow transferred from Ohio State to LSU. And he also died on the anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola being shot by a cannonball, which is May 20th. And it's part of the reason Donald Trump will be in the courtroom with Judge Eileen Cannon on May 20th later this year, 2024. Because again, it's what I'm trying to teach you guys is it's all scripted together. Just like how we've used the president in the past to call the Super Bowl and the World Series and other sports events. You know, like the Cavs getting to 4-6 right before, or not the Cavs, but LeBron getting to 4-6 in finals right before Joe Biden became number 46 weeks after the post-war thing. Anyway, the other thing about Billy Cannon and Joe Burrow is the year that Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. I want you to see the teams that Billy Cannon played for. He was drafted by the Rams, okay? He was drafted by the Rams, and of course, Billy Cannon's team, the Rams, played Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, right? That's the one where the guy born on the 56th day of the year, Odell Beckham Jr., whose name equals 56 in Gematria, scored the first touchdown. And we had that. That was a nice payout, 9-1. And when you write out 3 is awarded equals 56, and we said it was going to be a 3-point game. That's why the 3.5-point dog Bengals with the points made a lot of sense as they lost by 3. But look at this. Billy Cannon's teams were the Rams, the Houston Oilers, who became the Tennessee Titans, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. Who were the teams that Joe Burrow played in the playoffs that year? Well, he played the Raiders, he played the Titans, and then he played the Chiefs. And remember, the Chiefs were blowing them out in the AFC Championship, and then all of a sudden they just couldn't play football anymore. Their whole team just imploded. You know, they went away from the whole game plan, and then here came back the scripted victory. And, you know, that was the Bengals' 54th season. It was Super Bowl 56, but 54 was the number all over the Billy Cannon championship from at LSU, and New Orleans equals 54. And anyway, the point is, college and pro, it's all scripted together. And so anyway, Joe Burrow's college championship and his Super Bowl run all had everything to do with Billy Cannon. The Tampa Bay Kansas City Super Bowl, this was one of the years where, again, a lot of these years we've had really great futures in. This year we took a number of futures at the start of the season, and one of our favorite futures this year was a rematch of the Joe Montana Bowl, because Super Bowl 58 is the 54th of the modern era, and Joe Montana equals 54, and here we have a rematch of Super Bowl 54. But anyway, that year we only needed one future, and we did put it out for free if you were watching me at the time, and we emphasized it over and over why that year the Super Bowl was going to be Brady over the baby goat Mahomes. And we saw the ritual they set up that year because they did it in August in the baseball season in a game between Tampa Bay and Kansas City. And remember, Mahomes' father was a pro baseball player, and for the record, in Gematria, baseball equals 54, like how Mahomes has now been in Super Bowl 54 and 58, the 54th of the modern era. There's 54 outs in a complete game. Again, the Gematria baseball is 54. But anyway, it's a lot to explain, but we were decoding baseball, and shout out to Rod wherever he was. It was actually Rod who first had his eyes on it. And we said, yeah, this is it, man. This makes too much sense. The goat versus baby goat. The Super Bowl's on the 7th day of the year. That year, they moved it so that each team or each conference had 7 teams in the playoffs. Brady was going for his 7th ring. They adjusted the season schedule so there were 17 regular season games, which is the 7th prime number. So it was a ritual in baseball with Tampa and Kansas City, and it was that 131 Super Bowl number that was involved in it. And we said, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And that's exactly what they did, and Brady went on to get his 7th ring in the Super 7 season. And out of all the years we've been doing this, that was the only year we went perfect in the playoffs. We nailed every playoff game because it was so obvious what the narrative was that year. And the year before that, Super Bowl 54, that was another year where we had to put down several futures, but it was week 3 of that season that it dawned on us. Super Bowl 54, the 50th of the modern era. San Francisco equals 50. Chiefs equals 50. Chiefs hadn't won a Super Bowl since Super Bowl 4, 50 years earlier. The 49ers had the biggest 50 ritual ever with the Steelers in week 3. And we were already looking at Mahomes before the season to be the guy in the AFC. But that's where the narrative grew. And then it was later in the playoffs where I felt really dumb that year. I was like, how did I not notice all year that Joe Montana equals 54? Of course, they're going to have it between Joe Montana's teams for Super Bowl 54. But in that season, we did put in a future for that Super Bowl in week 3. We probably had about 6 futures over the course of that season, which was a lot like this season. And the thing is, it's fine if you put in 6 futures, because when you put in futures, they have big odds, and you only need to hit on 1 out of 6 to come out well ahead. It's always nice when you can just put in 1 future, as we've done in a number of years. But again, through the numbers, you can see the potential narratives, and more often than not, you can figure out those narratives. And good, it's always smart to hedge your bets just in case your first or second thought isn't the right one. Okay, so again, Super Bowl 54, it was all about Joe Montana. Joe Montana 54. And Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, he was 64 years old that year. Kansas City Chiefs equals 64 the small way. Earlier we talked about how Kansas City Chiefs equals 172. That's when you use the alphabetic order. When you use numerology, Kansas City Chiefs equals 64. Like, this is their 64th season this year. Are the Red Raiders going to become 6-4 in the division tomorrow in basketball? Watch out for that. Of course, the Super Bowl's in the Raiders Stadium, and Mahomes played for the Red Raiders, and it's the second all-red Super Bowl. Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Red equals 27 forwards, 54 in reverse. Super Bowl 54 was the first all-red Super Bowl, and it became tied between the NFC and AFC at 27 apiece. We like that clue. We also like that it was the 1920 season, and Montana wore 19 for the Chiefs, whereas he wore 16 for the 49ers, who he won Super Bowl 16 with. Montana did also win Super Bowl 19 with the Niners. But if you go back to that year and you look at all the mainstream articles, Joe Montana was joking that he knew his team was going to win for sure because both of his teams were in it. But literally every mainstream article that covered that showed Montana either like with a Chiefs scarf on or a picture from his playing days with the Chiefs. All the mainstream was telling you, if you were just paying attention, that it was the Chiefs' year. And it was. And it was a nail-biter of a game. And that's something to keep in mind with Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers. He gave up the big lead against the Chiefs in Super Bowl 54. He gave up the way bigger lead against Tom Brady in Super Bowl 51 when he was a coordinator. We'll see what he does here in Super Bowl 58. Could it be deja vu yet again? The Super Bowl before 54 was 53. This was a Super Bowl where we only had one future in before the year, and it was dead on. It was an easy call that year because in Gematria, Los Angeles equals 53, and so does Patriots. We had Patriots over LA before the season began. That year, the Patriots came into that season with 523 franchise wins, which is the 99th prime number. That was the 99th NFL season. And, of course, the big star of the Rams at the time was Aaron Donald, who wears 99, whose name equals 99, whose birthday is 5/23, May 23rd. So those were a few key things we were looking at. But that was a year where we only had one future, and we never hedged it. And, again, it just seemed too straightforward. 53 is a super special number to the NFL. 53-man roster, 53 and a third yard wide field. The shape of the football in sacred geometry is called the Vesica Pisces, which equals 53 in Gematria. And Gematria, for the record, means geometry in language. Don't forget, geometry equals 108, like they make 108 game balls for the Super Bowl. Each team gets 54. 108 double stitches on a baseball, like when the Cubs ended the 108-year drought in Chicago with the tallest building in town being 108 stories. But okay. So Super Bowl 53, Super Bowl 52, I had to amend my preseason future. We put in a new future. I can't remember what the preseason future was. It was Patriots versus somebody, but I changed it in week 3. Or you know what it was? Actually, I take it back. We didn't amend it. We had Patriots for the AFC before the season, but I didn't know who the NFC team was. I couldn't figure it out. And then week 3 we had it. We said, there it is. It's going to be the Patriots versus the Eagles. And what it was Donald Trump with the flag's birthday, June 14th, who took office while the flag was 239 years old. You go back and look. It was September 23rd, 23/9, that Donald Trump said, like, all the players who aren't doing the national anthem and protesting, the NFL should fire them all. Like, Mr. The Apprentice, you're fired. And we're like, you see what's going on here? Donald Trump, Mr. Flag on 23/9. Well, where's the flag from? It's from Philadelphia. It was sewn at 239 Arch Street. The Patriots with the flag on the helmet. And again, 239 is also the 52nd prime number. That was the year of Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, which equals 52. So out of the 10 years that I've put out a Super Bowl pick, the only year I got it wrong, we got our future right that year, but I had the outcome of that game wrong. That year, the game was in Minneapolis, which equals 62. Minnesota's 52. Minneapolis is 62. And Brady, had he won that Super Bowl, he would have become 6-2. And that year, he was the yards passing leader. And I think it was Phillip Rivers who was in second place. And he beat Phillip Rivers by 62 yards for the season. And we were documenting throughout the year, Brady was having all these 62 rituals. And the Super Bowl prior, he even had 62 pass attempts. So I thought the 62 was the top narrative. But if you were following me at that time, I was a little bit worried. And I said, if I'm wrong about this, the concern is he could fall to 5-3 because we know 53 is special with the NFL, and Patriots does equal 53, and Pennsylvania's 53, where the Eagles are from. And Philadelphia truly is the home of the flag. I did say if I was wrong about that Super Bowl, Zach Ertz would score the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday, wearing number 86. That's how that Super Bowl was, because the national anthem was adopted 86 years before that season. So that was the silver lining for me. I mean, our future landed. We got paid well. We did great in those playoffs. Those playoffs were beautiful, too. Like, I forget who the Falcons upset, but we knew they were going to upset in their matchup so that the Eagles would face them, because Atlanta Falcons equals 239. So, of course, 239 Arch Street Philly was going to go through Atlanta that year. And, Kobe was a big part of those playoffs. He was there cheering the game in LA. But, yeah, so that's the one year I got it wrong because I was more on the Patriots narrative. I knew that one was dicey, though. That was a dicey... The 62-53 thing was tough, but man, if you were with us that year, you just saw Brady kept doing this 62 stuff all year. So that's what I went back to. I was like, man, he's been doing 62 all year. I got to think he's going to become 6-2 in Minneapolis. And remember, Brady supposedly has family in Minnesota. He bought like a bunch of tickets for his family. But in hindsight, I thought, yeah, I probably shouldn't have doubted the 53. We know that is the shape of the football. And knowing that was why we were so confident going into Super Bowl 53 that the Patriots would be right back and versus LA. Okay. Super Bowl 51. Now, Super Bowl 51 was the year where my instincts about the future started off good, because the first thing I put out was how there ended up being a series of Super Bowls that were on 44 date numerology. Overtime equals 44. We had a hunch that Super Bowl 51 was going to go to overtime. It had never happened in Super Bowl history, and it did. It did go to overtime that game. But my first pick was not a Super Bowl pick. I thought the NFC Championship, my first thought that year was that it was going to be the Packers versus the Falcons, because Georgia and Wisconsin have a lot of history. From Hank Aaron, who wore 44. But Georgia and Wisconsin are the only two states that equal 44. If you go back and look, you'll see the Falcons beat the Packers with 44 points in the NFC Championship. But these are the things we were talking about at the start of the season. But what happened to me is I went from liking the Falcons and the Packers to then changing my mind to it being the Giants. And the reason I did that is because Giants love 25, and we'll get to that. They won Super Bowl 25. They won another Super Bowl versus Brady on 2-5. But that year at the Hall of Fame game, I can't even think of his name right now, but the New York Giant running back who's in the Hall of Fame, he died right before the Hall of Fame game, and it made me think that, maybe actually what they're doing was a rematch of the greatest game in history, which was between the Giants and the Colts. So I had Giants-Colts for the Super Bowl that year from before the season began. But if you go back to that season, Brady was suspended to start the year. Garoppolo was in. Their first game of the year was in Phoenix against the Cardinals, and they were like a 12.5-point underdog, but Jimmy G had all the numbers to win that game, and he did, and we loved the Patriots to upset. It was like the first time ever you could get the Patriots as a 12.5-point dog in the last decade. But I have to go back and look. The Patriots did this thing that just had me going, uh-oh. They had this little Super Bowl ritual thing going on, and Phoenix is on the 112th Meridian West. And Super Bowl does equal 131 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. It also equals 112 when you run it in reverse. So I started to doubt the Colts based on what the Patriots did in week one. Anyway, that Super Bowl, as we know, ended up being Patriots versus Falcons on 2/5 in the 97th NFL season, where 97th, the 25th prime. They moved the touch back to 25 yards that year. And this back when that Super Bowl happened is back when my channel got big views. And in 2016, I had hit all my sports futures. USA Today had written their article about me. I was getting a lot of traffic back then. My video, and back then I didn't have a Patreon. I just did everything for free. There were no ads on the channel. There was just nothing. There was no monetization. I did it for fun and out of a hobby. But my Super Bowl pick was that Brady was going to win, and the game was going to be all about 25, and I said it was a lock. And, of course, Brady was getting his ass kicked. They were down 28-3. They were down 25 points. I always say this. I wish I could resurrect my YouTube channel YouTube's deleted so many channels. But I would just love to go back and show you how the world is, because that video, I was just getting ripped a new asshole by all the people on the internet. That video had tens of thousands of comments, and almost every single one was just trashing me at halftime of that game. Which was also kind of pathetic when you think about it, because I'd hit like everything, including, calling LeBron to come back from down 3-1 the year before. It's like, look at all the haters in the world just waiting to talk shit. And I wasn't feeling like I was wrong. I was like, well, he's down 25. I said the game was going to be all about 25. And then what do you know? Brady comes back and wins in overtime. Not to mention in that video, I predicted the game was going to go to overtime. And so I was like, well, but then what was funny? There weren't really that many comments left after the game was over. Nobody had anything to say. All the shit talk. And I mean, like probably 20,000 asshole comments on the video. And then hardly just crickets after the game was over. And it just shows you how the world is, too. It's like people don't want to learn. They just want to hate. And they just want to believe in all their little kid mindset stuff. Like, I'm a little boy and I'm cheering for the old man on the field in my favorite city's team. It's like, that's our populace. It's like, look at you guys. You're worshiping these losers who don't give a shit about you. They're not from your city. They don't care about you. All they care is the money and fame and wealth and the all the status that comes from it. That's what they're out there for. They don't care about you. You're wearing their name on your back. They don't care about you. You think they're ever going to wear your name on their back? Anyway. That I just wish I could pull up that video to show you just how it was. But yeah, it was all about 25, and we were proven right. And by the way, Bill Belichick equals 97. It was the 97th NFL season. So anyway, and wasn't it funny how this year there were rumors that Bill Belichick was hired by the Falcons on January 19th? If you go back and look, that's what day it was, January 19th, 119. Kind of like their numbers that had to do with 9/11 as well. Like 9/11 Patriots, Patriot Act, all that. But that, of course, that was the team that Belichick had the big comeback on. Falcons equals... So if you're new here, just to make a point for the person who's new here, because I haven't been putting up anything on the screen. These are the values of Falcons. 70 with the alphabetic order, 25 with numerology, the 25-point comeback on 2/5 in the year of the 25-yard touchback. 119 when you run it in reverse. The rumors begin... Well, ESPN literally reported that the Falcons had hired Belichick on January 19th, and then they retracted the story. But even when they put out these false stories, it's by the numbers. You know what I mean? Falcons in 38 comes up sometime too, but the numbers that play real well for all you guys who don't ever want to join the Patreon, you just pay attention to 15 and 25 with Atlanta Falcons games, and you'll see something. You just pay attention to 15 with Atlanta sports, period, you'll see something. You see how Atlanta's also 120? That's the 15th triangular number. It means if you add 1 through 15 together, it equals 120. Okay. So yeah. Super Bowl 51, the 25-point comeback on 2-5. That date can also be written 5-2. Brady became 5-2 in Super Bowls in that game. 5-2 in Super Bowls. Oh, by the way, Atlanta was also... I just want you to see this. Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You see this 307? That's the 63rd prime number. When Brady became 6-3 in Super Bowls, he did it in that stadium. 6-3. And remember, Belichick won his 6th Super Bowl at age 66. The year before that, Nick Saban had won his 6th championship at age 66 in the same stadium. Okay, so Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 50 was my claim to fame. USA Today wrote their hit piece on me over Super Bowl 50. That was the year that in week 3 of that season, I explained why the white Denver Broncos were going to beat the black Carolina Panthers with all the race war symbolism going on in the NFL, and why Cam Newton would become the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, and why Von Miller, drafted 1 pick after Cam Newton, would be the Super Bowl MVP, because it was clearly going to have to be a defensive game because Peyton Manning couldn't even throw the ball anymore, which was true. He's thrown wounded ducks all season. It was probably one of the worst scripts in NFL history in terms of believability. But Huey P. Newton equals 58. He founded the Black Panther Party in San Francisco, where that Super Bowl was. So again, this was the whole thing about 58, the premise of 58. And again, the year that Cam Newton was born was the year that Huey P. Newton died. That was in 1989. And I just want you to see that Huey P. Newton has the 58 like I just talked about, but you see the 131 and 41? Look at Super Bowl 131 and 41. And Huey P. Newton died August 22nd. That's the day leaving 131 days left in the year. Cam Newton was born on May 11th, the 131st day of the year. Again, in 89, the same year that Huey P. Newton died. So I was explaining back then, this shows you how scripted the league is and how sick it is, and how Huey P. Newton was likely killed in the same year that Cam Newton was probably born in a They Cloned Tyrone lab, By the way, did you guys watch They Cloned Tyrone? Jamie Foxx. Remember how in the beginning they go track him down and he's in hotel room number 107? Or actually it's a motel because it's outside, but whatever. He was in room 107, Jamie Foxx. They found him there. Remember how they were making all the speculation that maybe he died or he'd been cloned? And then he finally speaks out the day They Cloned Tyrone came out. Remember how the secret labs under the church? It's kind of like how all the original Black Panther meetings were in Catholic churches. Whom I've always shown you runs the whole show. Again, there's a reason we're on the Catholic Church's calendar and they say all roads lead to Rome. But yeah, I was just explaining, like O.J. Simpson and the white Bronco chase, just race, football, ritual. It was Peyton Manning's 18th season, wearing number 18. The game began with a wounded duck. Nice wobbly shit-looking pass from number 18 to number 81 for 18 yards. Playing a 10-yard cushion on the slow tight end as Peyton Manning has no velocity on his ball. It's like, what kind of defensive game plan is this? These Manning scripts are something else. Now Archie's laughing doing the MGM commercials. People still going in the stadium, shoving hot dogs in their mouth, $20 beers, too drunk to realize the script right in front of their face. Anyway. Yeah, if you guys want to read the USA Today hit piece on me, I think it was published January 27th, 2016. If you search Zachary K. Hubbard, the big lead, that's the USA Today sports page, you'll find the article. It was very disingenuous. But, yeah, that Super Bowl was also on the 38th day of the year. Here, think about it. It was the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl, right? Gold equals 38, hosted by the 49ers, named after the gold rush. Colorado, where the mountains are, where the gold is. Panthers equals 38. They also lost in Super Bowl 38 to Brady, as we'll get to. But we call San Francisco the 50 city. That was Super Bowl 50, hosted by San Francisco. And again, once upon a time, they were 5-0 in Super Bowls, was San Francisco back in the glory days of Joe Montana and Steve Young. Okay. The year before that, my whole decode for the Super Bowl was this simple. I said, listen, Washington's the 42nd state. Brady's 3-2 in Super Bowls coming into this game. He's getting to 4-2 versus the 42nd state. Don't even think twice about it. Plus February equals 42. Anyhow, sure enough, that's exactly what happened. That's the game where, they didn't hand off to Marshawn Lynch on the goal line. And next thing you know, again, Seattle loses. Brady's 4-2. That Super Bowl was also in Arizona, and I didn't know this at the time because I didn't know reverse gematria yet, but Arizona's got the 42 connection. Just like how last year you had the battle of the two black quarterbacks in Arizona, and every black quarterback to win a Super Bowl has been all about 42, which, again, we'll revisit when we get to Doug Williams' Super Bowl. So, yeah, Brady got to 4-2 versus the 42nd state in Arizona. But by the way, don't forget that Super Bowl was on February 1st. February 1st. When Russell Wilson didn't hand off to Marshawn Lynch and he threw the interception, the down was 2nd and 1 on the date 2-1, and it was his 21st pass attempt that got intercepted by number 21, which gave Brady his 21st playoff win of his career. And just for the record, I mean, call it a coincidence, but when you spell out 21, it even equals 42. So, the year before that, it was the 33rd day of the year, and I didn't have a whole lot to go off of in this Super Bowl, but it just seemed obvious to me throughout that season. Keep in mind, I live in Washington State. It seemed obvious to me that they were going to give this Super Bowl to the Seahawks. And what I was showing people that year is that it was the first ever Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year. And back then, I didn't know reverse gematria. So the ciphers I knew were these two, and then I also knew the rules applying numerology. So, for example, Seahawks in reduction is 24. You see how Seattle Seahawks is 43? They won that Super Bowl with 43 points, right? But there's a rule with K, because K is the 11th letter, and you do not have to reduce master numbers. So this was the thing I was showing at the time. As I said, if you observe the master numerology of K, Seahawks is 33. And I thought, Denver doesn't have a 33 connection. They are, I guess they are the 303 area code, and they did win Super Bowl 33. But just in terms of gematria, they didn't have the 33 connection. And that Super Bowl, I did put out a pick because I was early in my days, and I did explain why I had the Seahawks. But I was also just feeling more the narrative and my gut instinct and just everything I'd seen them doing with Seattle that year. And also the advantage I had was from living up here. I still remember the day before that season began, just the local sports radio talk, which I used to listen to back then. The guy who has the biggest show in Seattle, he was just like, he was 1,000,000% sure the Seahawks were going to win the Super Bowl that year. And I'm sure somebody tipped him off about the script. But so I just had all these things in my mind, and, I was like, and then sure enough, the Seahawks kicked their ass. There's also an episode of The Simpsons from back in the day where if you look it up, there's an episode of The Simpsons. And by the way, Simpsons is 33, but Homer, or it's Simpson alone that's 33 is what it is. The family name Simpson. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer Simpson bets on a Broncos-Seahawks game, and he bets on the wrong team. And I got to go back and look at it, but it was part of the script too. So that was 2014. It's been a minute since I talked about that. So, but yeah, that was the first Super Bowl where we put out a pick. First ever Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year. And here's what I now know. Like, I wish I would have known reverse gematria back then, because it's just like what I was out educating the fans about this year. If you missed my broadcast, opening day of this past NFL season, I was out there at the Seahawks Stadium telling people why, get ready for the disappointment, because Matt Stafford's about to walk out of here with his 94th win, and he did. But the year the Seahawks won was the 94th season of the NFL. It's a decade ago. Now it's the 104th season. All year Mahomes has been doing the bundle ads, 58-104, right? But Seattle, Washington is 94, and Seahawks alone is 48. That was Super Bowl 48. So the only Super Bowl the Seahawks ever won was Super Bowl 48 in the 94th season, and they won it with, again, 43 points. Must all just be a coincidence for the Seattle diehards. All the people walk by there were like, yeah, whatever. All right, go spend your $20 beer, dumbass. How much did you waste on your ticket? Okay, come cry to me later. So... the year before that, the blackout Super Bowl on the 34th day of the year. Again, this was Super Bowl 47, the Harbaugh Bowl. It was John versus Jim, right? John, 47, won Super Bowl 47. John won Super Bowl 47, representing Maryland. Maryland equals 34 forwards, 47 in reverse. Notice the Ravens have won both their Super Bowls with 34 points, but again, that one was on the 34th day of the year, 34-minute blackout. And do you remember how that Super Bowl ended? I mean, just another stupid script. It was almost as bad as the interception at the goal line for the Seahawks versus Brady. If you recall, the Ravens were up huge in that game. And then in the second half, Frank Gore was unstoppable. He probably averaged 10 yards a carry in the second half. And on the final drive of the game, Gore's just marching down the field like it's nothing, just chewing up the Baltimore defense. So the 49ers get down to the goal line, and then what do? They call the same play every single time. Colin Kaepernick rolling out to the wrong side, going against his body, and throwing the ball out of the back of the end zone over and over and over. And again, the whole time Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback, I was like, okay, athletic, yeah. Can throw the ball a good distance, yes. Seemingly somewhat accurate, okay. But just so awkward. It never moved right. Footwork wasn't right. I was just like, God, there's so many people that are good in football in this nation. Like, I maintain this same thought about all sports. I don't think you see the best athletes out on the pro court. I think you see the chosen ones out there. I mean, there's a lot of great athletes in the world, but Kaepernick doesn't have the mechanics of a quarterback. And the way that Super Bowl ended was a total joke. It's like, who's the coordinator? What? Did you not realize that Frank Gore was unstoppable? How about just pound the ball in the end zone and win the game? God. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Haven't you noticed Baltimore can't stop Frank Gore? I mean, he's averaging, literally, go look at how many yards a carry he averaged in the second half. He round down the whole field like it was nothing to get him to the goal line before they just throw the ball out the back of the end zone every time. It's like, what is this? How many Super Bowls come right down to such an exciting moment? Got to keep everybody in their seats for every last commercial, right? It's like, God, I mean, to think this league is real, you got to be a special kind of brain dead. I'm sorry. You really do. Now, here's one of my favorites. How about Eli Manning beating the greatest ever Tom Brady when Eli Manning sucks? But where does he win? He wins in his big brother's stadium. You know what I mean? Eli and Peyton Stadium. You know, it's just like the face of the league are Peyton and Brady, and now here's and again, we'll get to all these little Manning Bowls, but as I've talked about so many times, if you don't know this about New York, pay attention with the four base ciphers. NY is 39, right? With the alphabetic order, the abbreviation for New York. NYC is 39. Keep in mind, Indianapolis is on the 39th parallels we'll get to. But New York City's 39, right? New York is 39 with the alphabetic order and numerology. And then New York, NY, like you'd write the city on an envelope, is also 39. The United Nations in New York's 39 floors tall. A gazillion 39 rituals in New York history, including hosting the World's Fair in 39. But literally every Super Bowl that New York has won, Jets and Giants, all come back to 39. So this one was won, again, on the 39th parallel. Little Manning winning in Big Manning's building. And look at the date numerology, February 5th. One of our best days this past NFL season was Monday Night Football. You had a doubleheader. The Giants were a 5.5-point underdog, and the Titans were a 14.5-point underdog. We liked both underdogs to win, and they did, and they were a monster payout. But Tommy DeVito was so good for us. That game on Monday Night Football was on Danny DeVito's 25th day of his age, and it wasn't an accident, you guys. It is that scripted. But we call the Giants the 25 team, and that's in baseball too. The San Francisco Giants used to be the New York Giants and the NFL Giants. These teams just abuse 25. But notice the Giants won on 2-5. And that's also why that one year where I changed my NFC championship from Packers versus Falcons, which was right, to the Giants, because the Giants and Falcons both have the 25 connection. I was like, well, yeah, I could go on the Giants, because I can't remember the player's name who died, but he died right before the Hall of Fame game, and that's part of my thinking too, because I was like, oh yeah, and then the Giants won in Indianapolis, and then Giants in Indianapolis is part of the greatest game ever played. So again, that's the way it is. I mean, you're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You don't know the future. My thoughts weren't bad. It's just it was wrong that year, and all the haters love to bring back that Super Bowl. And anyway, yeah. So Eli in Peyton's building. The year before that, Super Bowl 45. So here you have like arguably the two most Jesuit teams in NFL history. The Jesuit acronym IHS is 45, right? By the way, Usher performed in that Super Bowl halftime show, and now he's 45 years old, and he's performing in this year's Super Bowl. And by the way, he just put out a new album today, did Usher, Coming Home 42, just so perfect for the 42nd day of the year. He's putting it out on 2-9, football's 29. You might want to look into what the NFC versus the AFC Super Bowl record is. Of course, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. But anyhow, 45, IHS, the Jesuit acronym, 45. Vince Lombardi, the Jesuit, founded the Packers. The Steelers are owned by the Rooney family, publicly Jesuit family. And I can't remember, did Mike McCarthy's brother die before or after this Super Bowl? I have to go back and look at that. But yeah, that is my big hunch about that one. I should decode more into that Super Bowl. And look at what the score was, too. 31-25, right? Like, we call the Steelers the 31 team. So they beat the Steelers with 31 points. And then you had 56 combined points. Like, Society of Jesus is 56. Again, that's the formal title of the Jesuits, whose logo is IHS. But there's probably a lot more to that. But yeah, the Jesuit numbers on the surface just jump out. And then the Super Bowl before that, I mean, this one was just the biggest joke ever, right? New Orleans is recovering from Katrina. They've never won a Super Bowl before. They used to be called the Aints in the time of Archie Manning, the father of Peyton and Eli. And then who did the Saints get their first Super Bowl over? Peyton Manning. And I still remember just Peyton lofting some nice lobs just way over his receiver's head back into the secondary for some interceptions. I mean, just total scripted crap game. To his credit, he could still throw a spiral at that point. before he was throwing wounded ducks in Super Bowl 50. But, yeah, just, I should probably, so I've been thinking about this project for a long time to really do like a deep dive on all these and just put out like a book of every Super Bowl by the numbers. But just even on the surface, you can see what they're doing. Pittsburgh, Arizona. Look at the 50 points in the game combined, right? Pittsburgh, 50, right? 50 combined points. Steelers, when you run it the other way, 50. You see how you see how San Francisco is also 50? The year that we put in the future for Super Bowl 54, which was the 50th Super Bowl of the modern era, in week 3, if you go back and look, you'll see the 49ers and the Steelers played each other. And I think the 49ers were at home, if I remember right. And I think what it was the 49ers got their 229th all-time home win, which is the 50th prime number. And we said, man, that is a mega 50 ritual. And we know how big that 50 can be in Super Bowl 54 because it's the 50th of the modern era. For those of you guys who don't know, it's always -4 to find out what Super Bowl it is of the modern era. Just like how this year's a rematch of Super Bowl 54, and those numbers can matter a ton. Again, Chiefs is also 50, and they won their first Super Bowl in 50 years that year over the 49ers in the Joe Montana Bowl, Super Bowl 54. And again, now we got another Joe Montana Bowl. But anyway, 50 points in that game. The date was February 1st. The Jesuit family won it, the Rooneys, 2-1, like Jesuits 21, just like Russell Wilson's 21 ritual to lose to Brady on 2-1. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that Pete Carroll is a descendant of John Carroll, who founded the first Jesuit university. And if you guys don't know this about Seattle, where the stadium is, where the Seahawks Stadium is, that neighborhood in Seattle is called Georgetown, just like how John Carroll founded Georgetown University. And Jesuit Orders 54, John Carroll's 54. He was 54 years old when he founded Georgetown. You know who was 57 that year? George Washington, who was inaugurated as the first president in 1789. Anyway, the year before that, Giants over Patriots. Oh, I forgot to say this too about the Giants beating the Patriots. They beat them in Super Bowl 46, right? NYG is 46, the acronym for New York Giants, and NYC is 42. They beat them in Super Bowls 42 and 46. Brady's kryptonite was Eli Manning. I guess you could even argue the NFC East, right? Because the Eagles also beat them from the NFC East. But notice this Super Bowl was in Arizona. So out of the 50 states, only 2 equal 39 in the most pure cipher. Arizona and New York, which were the states that met after the World Series. In the World Series after 9/11, as you'll recall. I can't forget it. I was in Arizona at Arizona State as a freshman in college. And funny enough, the guy who lived in the dorm room across from me, he was a gay kid named Stuart who was from New York, who was this rich kid, and his dad was a lawyer. God, his dad I remember the day his dad walked into my room and just stared at me. And I said, hello? And he just looked at me. And then he just walked out of the room without saying a word. I was like, what the hell's wrong with this family? But then his son was this gay drug dealer. I just thought, and he was already he could afford to do it. He went and bought all these tickets for the World Series, and then he sold them all for a fortune. I was like, this is how the rich get richer. I didn't have any money to buy a whole bunch of World Series tickets. This kid's selling drugs, selling World Series tickets. Oh my God. Stewie. All right. But yeah, anyway. It was about 39 here as well. And for the record, the date of that Super Bowl had 33 numerology. That stadium's down on the 33rd parallel in Glendale, which is 33. But notice how New York is 39 forwards, 33 in reverse. So this is what I mean when I say every New York Super Bowl comes back to 17. And, God, there wasn't helmet catch. Didn't he throw the ball from the 39-yard line? I want to go back and look at that. I think he did. Check that out later. Now, this Super Bowl, I always remember this Super Bowl so well. This is the Super Bowl where Prince performed Purple Rain. It was the only Super Bowl where it rained at halftime. It was on 4-2. Oh, shit. I gotta come back to something else I forgot to tell you. You see how rain is 42? Or 24, you can write that date 4-2 or 2-4. California just got crazy rainfall, like record rainfall on that day this year. But again, weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday way back in 1952 on August 15th. I mean, you don't think they could do weather warfare, a little rain special for Prince and Purple Rain? Anyhow, Tony Dungy became the first black coach to win a Super Bowl, right? And he does it, in February, which also has the 42 on the 4-2 date. I forgot to say this about Mike Tomlin when he won Super Bowl 40, hold on. No, it was the one over Arizona. Mike Tomlin, when he won the Super Bowl over Arizona, remember Arizona has the 42 connection? Tomlin won that Super Bowl 42 days from his birthday. So again, just this history of 42 with black quarterbacks. It also is with black coaches. Always the 42 in black history. And of course, Jackie equals 42. And if you don't know, Moses Walker was actually the first black baseball player in white major league, and he played in 42 games. So, yeah, with both the black coaches, Dungy and Tomlin, you had these 42 things going on. And anyhow, notice Indianapolis beat Chicago 29-17, right? We'll get to Chicago's only Super Bowl win in a moment, but Chicago 46 points. Of course, when Chicago won their only Super Bowl, it was with the revolutionary 4-6 defense, and they won it with 46 points. So, fitting score there. And the year before that, remember Super Bowl 40? Like, everyone said it looked like the most rigged Super Bowl ever. It was the Jerome Bettis, Bill Cowher Super Bowl. Jerome Bettis retired after it. But notice, there were 31 points in the game. Pittsburgh won 21-10. And again, we call the Steelers the 31 team. So, if you don't remember that game, just the Zebras were taking big plays away from Seattle, taking touchdowns away from Seattle on just really chintzy stuff. And then Steelers were just getting all the chintzy calls in their favor and getting credited with touchdowns that didn't look like touchdowns. And just total FU of a game. And just such a script, right? Everybody knew Jerome Bettis was going to retire after the game. And maybe there's something, maybe there's also a joke about, they called the guy the Bus, right? Bus is 42. He beats the 42nd state in Detroit on the 42nd parallel. Rosa Parks died in Detroit, back of the bus. That's probably part of it. I'm just thinking in real time here. So, Motor City. Okay, before that, now we're getting back to the early days of Brady. New England beats Philadelphia on the 37th day of the year. Well, Patriots loved a good 37. Patriots equals 37. 37 is the 12th prime. Tom with his 12. Whole lot of 37-12 over the years with Tom. But on the 37th day of the year, New England beats Philly. And that was Super Bowl 39. And I'm forgetting it right now. Oh, yeah. Remember, rematch of that Super Bowl 13 years later in the Battle of the Flag, right? Like the 13 stripes. So that was also part of what was going on. And in light of that Super Bowl being on 2-6, Flag has that Gematria 26. Philadelphia has that Gematria of 101, which is the 26th prime. So. Oh, yeah. There were also 45 points in that game. 24-21, New England, 45 forwards and backwards. You see how New England is 99 as well? Notice how the United States of America is 99. And again, the United States of America was named that on September 9th. I want you to see how Arrowhead Stadium is also 99. I bring that up because just think about the symbolism. In the 99th NFL season, Tom Brady got his 99th career road win in the AFC Championship, beating Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. So the white New England Patriots beat the natives in the National Football League America's game for a little tribute to America's history, which it often is if you're paying attention. It's like Detroit got that big win 24-23 over Stafford this year in the playoffs, 47 points at Ford Field, which equals 47, when Henry Ford died on April 7th in 47. Lions, love that 24, had to win with 24. We call them the 24 team. Couldn't get off 24 points against the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Didn't we tell you in the first half, the finals, or at the end of the half would probably be 24-7? We sure did. Detroit established 24th of July while the country's 247 years old, and then right as the third quarter start, they put up the stat on the screen that when these teams played in the championship in 1957, the 49ers were up 24-7 at halftime and lost. And I said right there in the chair, I said, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh, Lions fans, are they going to pull your hearts out again? It looks like they might have just given us the script. And sure enough, Super Bowl 38. Just like how the Panthers got beat down on the 38th day of the year by the 38 State Colorado, they also got beat down by Peyton Manning's wingman Tom Brady in Super Bowl 38. So Panthers are in Super Bowl 38, getting a beat down. And that Super Bowl was on the 32nd day of the year. NFL's 32, right? America's 32. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. They created the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Scottish Rite Freemason Walter Camp's responsible for American football. But again, 32 teams in the NFL. It's the 32 league. How about 32 points on the 32nd day of the year? And you know what else? That Super Bowl was in Houston. Houston's got that 32 connection as well. The better number in Houston's 31. Just like UConn when they won the championship March Madness. Picked up their 31st win of the season. And again, you know, March Madness, we did take 7 teams at the beginning of the tournament, the chance to win. UConn was, what were they, 20-something to 1 to win, and they were one of our teams. And the thing was, if you didn't take all 7 teams at the beginning of the tournament who identified who had the 84 narrative last year for the 84 tournament, after the very first round, and we know to watch the first rounds, I said, uh-oh, UConn by far got the biggest ritual in the opening round. And that's because they took down the nets. They said the net got snagged after UConn scored the 84th points, and it was the 84th tournament. I was like, I don't see anything wrong with that net. This looks like a little simulation of what they're going to do. And remember, they kept showing you the Hashim Thabit ad. Hashim Thabit 120. It was UConn's 120th basketball season. They outscored all opponents in the tournament by 120 points. Anyway, let me get back to football. Let's see here. Okay. The John Gruden Bowl. The John Gruden Bowl. What could be more dumb? What did they do with that one? 48-21. I got to admit, the numbers are dumbfounding me. I'm sure there's something to it. It's probably got to do with John Gruden. I got to admit, off the top, there's nothing on the surface that screams out to me about those numbers. There's no way there's not a ritual there. It's just I actually don't see it in the score. It's got to be about Gruden, though. Does Gruden equal 69? Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, of course it does. Okay. John Gruden, 69 points in the game. Okay. They got me for a second there. The John Gruden Bowl was 69 points. Nice. Well played. New England, St. Louis, how about it? 37 points. I told you, Patriots love 37. 37 points, right? And remember, the thing that's so important about St. Louis, because Tom Brady had so much history with the Rams, even when they weren't in St. Louis anymore. But if you look into football history, the first forward pass in the history book, and I wonder, it makes me wonder if it's even true. I have a feeling it's not true, but this is the way it goes down in history. The first forward pass in football history is credited to the Jesuit school, St. Louis University. And as we know, the Jesuit order equals 201. Rams in Jewish gematria equals 201. Here, I got to show you this old post real quick. Bear with me a second. I gotta pull up my old site. I think if I type in road to 201, it should come up. Hold on. Here we go. So look at this ESPN article. They didn't make a big deal about Tom Brady's 200th win, right? And keep in mind, Tom Brady was married to Giselle, who's born on the 201st day of the year. And in his last Super Bowl 55, if you look at the box score, he had 201 passing yards. But 201's this huge number with the Jesuits, okay? And the Jesuits served the Pope, and Tom Brady got to meet the Pope like Harbaugh, and they both went to Michigan, which has the Catholic connection. And anyway, let's not forget how synced Michigan's season was with Tom Brady this year. It was crazy. It was crazy how synced it was with Tom Brady. But Hey, if you guys didn't know this, Harbaugh became 118 and 46 winning the championship, and Tom Brady's 118 and 46, and Michigan's 46. And did you see how Tom Brady's also 98? What is it? Is it Michigan Wolverines is 98? Yeah. And isn't, what is it, or it's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is also 98. Yeah. And it's also 64. It's also 199, which is the 46 prime, and 64 like Michigan. And anyway, the road to 201. The road to 201, right? So here, in this here's the Rams and Jewish Gematria, which is 201. But I mean, like, why the road to 201? And look at how many points he scored in the damn game. 26-10. Is that 36 points? What was Brady's first Super Bowl? Super Bowl 36 over the Rams. I mean, come on. IHS, their acronym is 36. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Two towers became zero before they became one. 9/11 Patriot Act, Patriots. Tom Brady getting every call. Calls out of refs' asses. Tuck rule, never heard of it before. Vinatieri, man, that guy, though, was money. Unless there's like a homing device in those footballs. He's like kicking field goals through blizzards. Feel like he's the GOAT. Anyway. Yeah, that was Super Bowl 36. So Brady, you know, he had to have 36 points in his 201st career win. Patriots, Brady sets record with 201st NFL win. That's okay. So that was also part of what made it so interesting, right? That just shows you how scripted it is, that they just had to save that moment. But yeah, that was one of my first documentations of 201. I had no idea how important the number was back then. No idea. Okay, moving on. Super Bowl 35. This is the one the Ravens won, and they won with 34 points. And one more time. Maryland, where Baltimore is, 34. You know, winning it for Maryland with 34. 41, by the way, 41 combined points in the game. Baltimore's 41. Just like how Mahomes just got his 41st career road win, beating Baltimore in the AFC Championship. That's why it was just so easy, you guys. I couldn't believe people were calling into my live stream like, oh, I think I'm going to take Baltimore. I was like, well, okay, you can do that if you want. But, I mean, I've only been here for a decade showing you how important 41 is to the Super Bowl and 41 to Baltimore. I mean, if that's what you want to do. I can't fix stupid. Anyway. St. Louis, Tennessee. Now, I love this one, right? I love this. Tennessee, the 16th state in order of statehood. Remember when Nick Saban, he that 16 streak against Tennessee ended? But notice this was Super Bowl 34, right? Tennessee in the most pure, 34. You know, Super Bowl 34, Tennessee's in it. Kevin Dyson just can't cross the goal line. He just couldn't make it in there. They had to give it to the grocery bag champion, Kurt Warner. He went from bagging groceries to winning Super Bowls, all in the National Fix League. It's like, how's this even real? Are you trying to tell me the guy was bagging groceries and now he's winning Super Bowls? I mean, come on, man. This sounds like a load of... Anyway. The 16th state goes down with 16 points in Super Bowl 34. All right, now how about Denver winning on the 31st of January over the Atlanta Falcons, 34-19? Well, there's that 53 points. They beat Atlanta by 15. Go figure, Atlanta's 15, right? We call it the 15 city, so why not beat Atlanta by 15? But then Denver does have that 31 connection. Denver also has the 32 connection, and Super Bowl, again, equals 131, like how the date was on January 31st, and 131 is the 32nd prime, so... You know, a game on January 31st, it's a fitting day for Denver to win a Super Bowl, you know. And I'm sure, again, all these Super Bowls, you go back and decode them, there's probably a whole lot more to it. But, I mean, just on the surface, you can see through the script of nearly every damn one. And the year before that, Denver wins with 31. These are back in the Terrell Davis days, so why not win with 31 and then win it in the next year on the 31st? And that was Super Bowl 33, and Denver is the 303 area code. Or I take it back. I got dyslexic. They won Super Bowl 33 over Atlanta on the 33rd parallel, and they beat Green Bay in Super Bowl 32. And again, with 30. So Super Bowl 32, 31 points. Yeah, I like that. Super Bowl 32 with 31 points. How nice. How nice. And you see how Denver's also 94. Remember, they lost to Seattle in the 94th NFL season. Then Russell Wilson's grandpa died at 94, R.I.P. Kind of like Bill Gates from Seattle lost his mom in the year 94, the year he got married, the year Kurt Cobain died 206 days from his birthday when Seattle's the 206 area code. Remember what they did with the 206 this year? University of Michigan was 206 years old. Michigan Wolverines equals 206. They beat the team from the 206 area code. Michael Penix suddenly doesn't know how to throw a football anymore. Been lights out all year, but now he's on the big stage. Man, just must be those nerves. Sorry, man, you're not the guy. You're not the quarterback at a Division I school doing that all year, and then you got too many nerves in the championship. You can't even hit wide open receivers. No. Script. And now he can go to the NFL and get paid for following the script. It's the whole problem with money. Everyone's like, how do you rig the games? How about just tell these guys to follow the script, or they're not getting paid, or they're going to be in the obituaries like a lot of these other guys from the league? You know? What's the over-under for one more dead NFL player before the Super Bowl kicks off on Sunday? Sadly, you'd be a fool to take the odds of it not happening as often as it does happen. How many years are we talking about the morning of the Super Bowl and there's some bizarre former NFL player death? The other year it was supposedly a player walking along the freeway and he got ran over. It's like, what? He's walking along the freeway in the middle of the night. Stories don't even make sense. Mike Williams supposedly got killed in a construction accident, and then they're like, oh, never mind, he's still alive, he's in the hospital. Actually, he died from bad teeth. I forgot that story earlier this year. It went from he died from a construction accident to he died from bad teeth. Come on, man. Okay, let's see. All right, so we went through the Denver Super Bowls 32 and 33. We're on to Super Bowl 31. Green Bay 35. New England 21. Up 56 points again in a Green Bay Super Bowl. Again, Society of Jesus 56. Team founded by the Jesuit Vince Lombardi. Catholics 35 as well. Jesuits 21. Green Bay won the first Super Bowl with 35 points. Now, just to be aware of this, I'm going to get rid of these base ciphers. There are other ciphers that matter. And 35 is a special number to football. The word eye, E-Y-E, like the eye on your face. Like your eye's the shape of a football, right? At least with unless you pull it out of your head, then it's like a basketball. But, I mean, the way we see our eyes on our face, it's like a football. And E-Y-E. E is the fifth letter, Y is the 25th, E is the fifth. So 5 plus 25 plus 5 is 35. And in this Chaldean and Septenary cipher, which are interesting, notice how football is 35 in Chaldean, and in Septenary, Super Bowl's 35. Packers did win their first Super Bowl with 35 points. And, of course, we always have that thing that we call 35 Thursday in football. But, again, just Jesuit team in the game. And very Jesuit score. So, I'm sure, again, there's more to it, but that's what's jumping out on the surface. Now, Sun Devil Stadium, Dallas beat Pittsburgh 27-17. And I got to be honest, on the surface, that game, I'm missing it. I'm not seeing what the narrative was with that game. Hold on. What's the Cowboys record in Super Bowls? Are they 5-3? Come on. Cowboys. Let's try it a different way. Super Bowl record. Okay. Well, why does Google think that's what I'm asking? All right, hold on. List. All right. NFL team records in Super Bowl. Let's do this another way. I want to say the Cowboys are 5-3. They are. That was the last one they were in, and that was the last one they won. So they became 5-3. That special number. Again, Vesica Pisces. Let's just come back to the base ciphers here. Vesica Pisces is... Oops, I spelled it wrong. Oh, interesting. In Septenary, it's also the same as the reduction cipher. That's cool. Vesica Pisces is 53. Okay? Shape of the football. And Pennsylvania is also 53. So they became 5-3 versus the Pennsylvania team. But honestly, as for the score, I'm missing it. I'm missing it. Have to go back and look. 27-17. What's it about? Super Bowl 29 on the 29th. 49ers. Do I even need to say anything? 49ers win 49-26. That was the 75th NFL season. And it's interesting because Catholic Church equals 75, and San Francisco is very Catholic, named after St. Francis of Assisi. You might recall the Warriors won the 75th anniversary season of the NBA playing in San Francisco. But, yeah, it's funny. Harbaugh, he coached the 49ers, lost in the Harbaugh Bowl. Now he's coaching San Diego. That was in 95, this upcoming Super Bowl. On Sundays on the 95th birthday of the Vatican. The Chargers this year, we saw weeks out how they could become 4-7 versus Baltimore in tribute to Super Bowl 47, the Blackout Bowl, in light of Chargers electricity. So we'll see what it all means here. Again, make sure you got your water supply, your dry food supply, in case, they do another Super Bowl blackout and it lasts more than 34 minutes, if you catch my drift. Keep telling us about this cyber attack that's coming from China. I'm sure it'll be from China. But, yeah, they've been telling us for over a decade that a cyber attack could take down the grid, so let's hope not. But just in case, an ounce of preparation's worth a pound of cure. Guarantee it'll come by the numbers, not by China. But anyway, 49ers with 49 points, they're like kicking you in the nuts. For the record, NFL and Super Bowl do have that 49 connection as well. NFL 49, Super Bowl 49, America's 49. They call it America's game. Scottish is 49. Again, American football, credited to Walter Camp, a Scottish Rite Freemason. Oh, you got to love when the Cowboys win with 30. So look at that. On the 30th of 94, right? Dallas beats Buffalo 30-13. I mean, that's a beautiful score right there. Cowboys 30. Dallas 13, right? And then, you put it together, it's 43 points. Like Dallas Cowboys is 43, like football is 43, like Florida's 43, like Tom Brady goes down to Florida at age 43 and just walks his way through the Super Bowl, gives George W. Bush a high five on the way out, who became number 43 in Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor. Yale equals 43. See, Yale's 43, Goat's 43. Remember the Goatville killings at Yale days before Brady won at age 43? Remember that? If not, go back and look. Did you know the goat is also a symbol for Satan? That was Super Bowl 55. The weekend came down like a fallen angel at halftime. That's another 55. Anyway. That was Super Bowl 28. Cowboys over Buffalo. Poor Buffalo. Buffalo with those 4 lost Super Bowls in a row. Dallas beat Buffalo by 35 in the Super Bowl before that. I think we understand the significance of 35. Washington beat Buffalo the year before that in Super Bowl 26 and 61 points in that game. Washington, D.C. was 61, always a good date on January 6th for a staged insurrection paying tribute to the Civil War, which broke out in 1861. But New York Giants Buffalo, all New York Super Bowl. How many points? 39. We don't got to go over New York and 39 again, do we? But again, every New York Super Bowl that's been won comes back to 39. Buffalo has none of them. They got a lot of L's. But, 39 points in that one. San Francisco 49ers beat the Broncos down 55-10. And if you were not following me back in the time of Super Bowl 50, I was pointing, that was one of my reasons I had the Broncos winning in the Niners Stadium too, because John Elway's, who got smoked in that Super Bowl, John Elway was 55 years old when his team won in the Niners Stadium. And I think there's a real important thing about that Super Bowl score and this Super Bowl that's happening Sunday. And I've hinted about it in a few free public streams, but just join us on Patreon tomorrow, man. Support the work. It could be very lucrative. So, For the record, 49ers, does have that Gematria 55. The teams that have numbers, there's actually two ways to calculate. So, like the 76ers and 49ers can get goofy. If you turn off the number part, which is also a fair way to calculate in Gematria, if you only calculate the value of the letters, 49ers also has these numbers. And I just wanted to show you how San Francisco 49ers is 65, like how there were 65 points in that game, 55-10. So now the year before that was Super Bowl 19, and that was Montana beating the Bengals. Wait a minute, did I skip some Super Bowls? Wait. All right, I take it back. I can't count. That's Super Bowl 23. Yeah, Montana did go back to Super Bowl. He went back-to-back in Super Bowls 23 and 24. Okay. Cincinnati. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I love that, too, because Montana beat Cincinnati in Super Bowl 16, right? And Joe Montana wore 16. And then Cincinnati lost to him in the next Super Bowl with 16 points. And by the way, last year and the year before, the Bengals and Niners were both playing on the anniversary of Super Bowl 23. So, and last year was 2023. Just the way they pay tribute to history. But, yeah, what are the odds that it would be 16 in both against Joe Montana, number 16? And, Joe Montana, Catholic educated too, went to Notre Dame. But then again, so are almost all these guys if you look at their high schools. Now, Super Bowl 22, this is the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You see how Negro has that Gematria 22? Again, just the long history of 42 in black history. Doug Williams set a record in the Super Bowl. They won with 42 points, right? And again, think about it. First black quarterback beats the team with the white Bronco. It's about race, right? Just like O.J. Simpson years later in the white Bronco chase. And by the way, O in O.J. stands for Orenthal, which is another 42. Just like Jackie. But Doug Williams threw 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. Doug Williams finished his career with 42 total wins, regular season and postseason, and 42 regular season losses. Russell Wilson would become the second black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, representing the 42nd state, Washington. Mahomes would beat the 49ers in Super Bowl 54 with 42 pass attempts. Then he won again last year in Arizona, having 42 Gematria. And now here he is on the 42nd day of the year versus the 49ers, who also do have the 49 connection. Or of course they have the 49 connection, but they also have the 42 connection. And, I suppose he won by 32 points in Super Bowl 22. Just, Negro 32 and 22. But yeah, it was all very racist and by the numbers. And, the year before that, the Super Bowl was on the 25th. And who won other than the 25 team, the Giants? Giants are one of our best teams this year because anytime 25 was coming up, they were smashing and they were usually an underdog. We just love the Giants at 25. I can't wait for baseball to start. Just decode Giants games and make a killing. So, anyway. How many points did the Giants win with? Oh, they won with 39. I don't have to go over it again, do I? By the way, they call the Giants the G-Men. That is another 39. The G-Men in 39 land with 39 points. That was Super Bowl 21. Super Bowl 20, the only one Chicago ever won, right? Where the NFL was founded again. They win with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. And that was the 85-86 season. National Football League is 85. So where the NFL was founded, the only year the Bears can win a Super Bowl is that season. I mean, just think about it. Chicago loves a good 46. This year, man, you should have seen how much 3-12 happened with them. Their poor quarterback. He was just 3-12 here, 3-12 there. That's the Chicago area code, the 3-1-2. Okay, Super Bowl 19. Here we go. Now I can count again. Super Bowl 19. Eventually, Joe Montana would wear 19. Miami lost to Joe Montana with 16 points. There were 54 points in that game. Again, Joe Montana's 54. You know what I mean? Remember how the Chiefs went through Miami this year in the first round of the playoffs? And, again, they're the gold team, just like how they hosted the golden anniversary on the 38th day of the year that, again, was won by the 38th state, Colorado, in Super Bowl 50. So good as gold. That was in Stanford Stadium, which university founded by a Jesuit. It's not a Jesuit university, but it was founded by a Jesuit. And which is interesting. I don't know why it doesn't count as a Jesuit university in light of it being founded by a Jesuit. That is kind of weird. But if you ever go to Stanford, it's all Roman architecture. And notice that Super Bowl was on 20/1, like 201, the 201st day of the nation's age. So the year before that, Super Bowl 18, Raiders over Washington with 38 points. And the Raiders love a 38. Raiders is 38. 38-9, that's 47 points. DC's the 47 city, so it makes sense. Difference of 29, like football's 29. The year before that, Washington won on January 30th, beating Miami with 27 points. Well, let's start with 130 because Washington's 130. Washington's 140 in reverse. Who can remember when Pete Carroll was a major underdog on Monday Night Football in San Francisco? $100 bet paid $350, and the 49ers did lose that game. Pete Carroll got his 130th regular season win and 140th all-time win, including the postseason on Washington's birthday, November 11th. Thing of beauty. Of course, Washington did lose in Super Bowl 49 to Brady as well at the goal line. But anyway, Washington, the other Washington, the DC one, won on 130 with 27 points over Miami, and you can't get more 27 than Miami, so makes perfect sense. And again, Super Bowl 16, Joe Montana, number 16. 26, 21, 47 points, playing the team from Ohio, the birthplace of football. So Ohio and Nevada are the only two true 47 states. 47 is the 15th prime. Mahomes. But, just blatant. Number 16, winning it all. That Super Bowl was in Michigan. Something to think about here with Michigan. Niners just went over Detroit in the NFC Championship. What's there to think about here? There might be something to think about with that. You gotta love. You know what? I love it actually. Just look at the jokes these people got. That game was on the 24th in the Lions Stadium, right? And look at what the Niners just did to the Lions. They just couldn't get over 24. They were just stuck there until it was cleanup time, right? Just got their asses kicked while they were on 24 points. Okay, then we got Super Bowl 15, Oakland, Philadelphia. That was the Raiders, right? Now the Raiders are hosting this Super Bowl with number 15 in the house. I don't know what to say about that one either on the surface. I don't know. I bet you anything there's something to it. I just don't see it on the surface. I got one interesting observation. It's not about the teams. It was on 126 date numerology in New Orleans, which is 126. But we need some more research there. I just don't see it. What am I missing? Let's see. 47th season, 48th, 49th, 50th, 51st, 52nd, 53rd, 54th, 55th, 56th. Oh, look at the Jesuit team won in the 56th season. 57th, 58th, 59th, 60th, 61st. Now I'm glad I counted it up. I knew there had to be something. So Philadelphia lost in the 61st NFL season, okay? 61. You see how Philadelphia is 101 and 61? Notice how Las Vegas Raiders is also 61 and 101. And again, they moved to Vegas in the 101st NFL season. And Randall Cunningham is the chaplain for the team, and his son drowned in a hot tub in Vegas. There's probably something to that. I bet there's a lot more to it, though. But okay, 61st season. Am I missing something with the Raiders in 61? Oakland Raiders. That was 60. The year after the 60th season. Okay, but Philadelphia's losing in the 61st season. I had to find something for you. We couldn't just go through with nothing. Okay. So, now we know our season count here. Could you believe that the year before Pittsburgh won another Super Bowl with 31 points? You think the fans would catch on? Like I told you, the Steelers are the 31 team. You don't doubt 31 when it's on the board in the Steelers game. So, and 50 points again. I mean, we're just getting stupid here. 31 to 19, so 50 total points. And again, Pittsburgh's 50 in case you forgot. They couldn't have scripted it any better. The Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl was won by Pittsburgh 35 to 31. Well, when they're not scoring 31, the loser is. So, just in case you have amnesia, Steelers 31. Okay? It's getting redundant here. And Pittsburgh 35. We talked about where that matters. 1978. Dallas over Denver. Well, you know, the one thing, I don't see what the ritual is on the surface of this one either. This would have been the 58th season. I do find it interesting how Cam Newton had so much to do with 58 and Denver won that one. Yeah. It's going to take a deeper level of decoding. I don't got it on the season count. How about on the date numerology? Oh, I see something. The date numerology is 113. The date numerology is 113. Dallas 113. How do you get that 113? Let's add it up. 1 plus 15 is 16. Plus 19 is 35. Plus 78 is 113. So Dallas won it on a 113 date numerology. Okay. It has a little rhyme and reason. And you see this super wild card weekend? You see how it's 113? Remember how Dallas went down in super wild card weekend? Let me show you something about old McCarthy here. He lost to his old team. The Packers just came in and just lit him up in Dallas. And Jerry Jones said, don't worry, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Come back and buy some more hot dogs and beer. But hold on. You see how he has 102 regular season losses and 11 postseason losses? Added together, that's 113. So how about that? In Dallas, he gets the 113th loss in super wild card weekend. The Bucks beat the Eagles and got like their 320th franchise win? Something like that too. Some super wild card weekend stuff going down. Remember these things for next year because it'll happen again. Look how redundant it is when you just really look at it all. Okay. I refuse to be stumped on any of these. So let's see if we can close it out, figuring out at least one key connection for each Super Bowl. All right. January 9th, 1977. Oakland beats Minnesota 32 to 14. They're not making it easy for me here with these older ones. The scripts were less obvious. I got to give it back to the original script writers. They did a better job here. Let me make sure I got my count right. 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. 57. All right. And we know 32 is important to the NFL, but it's got to be more than that. The Raiders. Super Bowl 11. 32 to 14. Damn. I don't know. I don't see it right now. I'm sure if I started decoding and looking at the quarterbacks and coaches, I'd find something, but I might just have to eat crow here because I just said I'm not going to let any of these defeat me on the surface, and I'm feeling pretty defeated. I don't have it for that one. Super Bowl 11, too, man. It's got to be. You got to love that Super Bowl 11 was on the 9th, right? You got to love that. 11-9. Game of 11 on 11. You would have think that would have been like the most spectacular, most obvious number ritual. What if that was the only Super Bowl where they just let them play? God damn it, this one's not going to be rigged. Shout out to 11. I don't know. I lose. I lose. I lost the game on Super Bowl 11. But I guarantee if I dig deeper, I'll find it. I just don't have nothing on the surface. I do find it funny Super Bowl 11 was on the 9th. Okay. Super Bowl 10. Super Bowl X. That's funny. In the movie Black Sunday, which came out in 77, they did have Pittsburgh, Dallas as the movie. The Super Bowl gets attacked. X is the 24th letter. The Jesuit team won with 21. Again, Jesuits 21 in the most pure. IHS is also 18 forwards and backwards. But yeah, that's that Super Bowl was on 33 date numerology. The Steelers and the Eagles were both established in 33, and Cowboys the other way is 33. So on 33 date numerology, you had the team established in 33 beat the team with the 33 connection. And yeah, that Jesuit 21 is a big one. That's why the whole 21st century has been nothing but Jesuit ritual after Jesuit ritual, starting with 9/11. All right, January 12th, fitting day for a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh over Minnesota, 16-6. So Super Bowl 9. The Jesuits were created in the 16th century, so I'm going to chalk that up to the symbolism of the 16 there. Again, the Roonies are Jesuits. Remember what they did to the guy who had the great post, the Immaculate Reception last year? Remember how brutal that was? How they just 86 that guy right before the Steelers-Raiders game? Nobody even blinked an eye. How they 86 Dick Butkus this year right before the Bears first went on primetime? Oh my God. That ritual was so scripted. I couldn't believe I had somebody call into my show and go against our pick for the Bears. We nailed everything. We had Justin Fields' correct touchdown amount. That was a beautiful game. That Bears upset in primetime right after the R.I.P. Dick Butkus. But yeah, Jesuits since the 16th century. Pennsylvania is also 53, the 16th prime. Okay, Miami, Minnesota, Super Bowl 8. I swear there's something bigger about 8 and 24 than just Kobe. The sun equals 24, doesn't figure 8 in the sky each year. Miami 24, Minnesota 7. I'm having trouble with this one too. I don't have a good observation about that one on the surface. I do not. Oh, actually I do. What am I talking about? 31 points in Houston. Are you kidding me? We don't call Houston the 31 city for nothing. Remember what they did to that member of the Migos? He died the day before the anniversary of his album Rocket in Houston. Of course, the basketball team there's the Houston Rockets, and he was with his uncle, who's 31 years old, and then 31 days later they arrested his shooter, and on and on and on and on and on. So, okay, 31 points in Houston. Okay, I see what they did there. But in terms of the score, 31 total points, but those numbers, as far as I know, don't have a lot to do with either of those teams. Super Bowl 7 the year before, Miami beat Washington 14-7. Losing score 7 in Super Bowl 7. Yeah, these older games were a little bit different. You know, here's my thought about 14-7 in Super Bowl 7. You know, funny enough, Mahomes, he's going to be playing on the 42nd day of the year, 147 days after his birthday. These are big numbers with Freemasonry, 42 and 147. The Freemasons logo is the capital G, the seventh letter. So I'm just looking at the 14-7 score and Super Bowl 7. I'm thinking maybe that's what they were doing there in that one. But I bet, again, you start looking into coaches and QBs and what went on that season. That game was also on the 14th. So on the 14th in Super Bowl 7, the score was 14-7. Okay. You know, that was in the year 73 as well, and the word Mason does have that gematria 73 also. Okay. Dallas over Miami, Super Bowl 6, 27 combined points. We just saw that. Miami, we call it the 27 city. So that makes some sense. And oh, by the way, Dallas established in 1841. They were 131 years old that year. And see, I don't know the establishment year for every single city, but I know Dallas is 1841 because Dallas has the 41 gematria, and if you go to Dallas, it's everywhere. It's like, buy a Dallas shirt established in 1841. How could you miss it? So anyway, they were 131 years old when they won their first Super Bowl. What a ritual. And the year before that, Baltimore, Dallas. Dallas lost that year with 13. It's right up there. Dallas 13. 41's the 13th prime. So Baltimore, Dallas, 16-13. That's 29 points. Nice solid football number. Football's 29 like Ohio. Birthplace of football is Ohio. What else could I say about the 16? There might be more to it. You know, a lot of 13 stuff does go down in Miami, and my suspicion is M is the 13th letter. So Dallas losing with 13 in Miami also makes sense in that level too. All right, Super Bowl 4. Now, we saw this coming a mile away. Remember how the Chiefs lost this year to the Lions? So something I told people at the beginning of the year, I'm just going to pull up the ESPN NFL. After the Chiefs lost the opener to the Lions, and the Lions did have a good riddle to beat the Chiefs. It was a 35 Thursday thing. The problem with that game was you had 35 on both sides. There was great value with the Lions, but when they lost, I said, uh-oh. I said, look at how it lines up if the Chiefs win the next 4. I said, if they win the next 4, look at what's going to happen. The Chiefs win the next 4. What is going to happen? They're going to be 4-1. That's Super Bowl number. The Vikings, we saw too that the Vikings, they could start the year 1-4 versus KC, which they did. KC, we call it the 14 city. You keep hearing about Taylor Swift in 13, right? KC's got the 14 and 13, just like NFL. But we said, wouldn't that be something if the Chiefs won the next 4 games and the Vikings ended up 1-4 in that game? In light of the Chiefs, you know, winning their first Super Bowl and Super Bowl 4 over the Vikings, and now they'd be 4-1, that Super Bowl number. And let's not forget the week before, it was week 3, or it was actually 2 weeks prior. You know, the Chiefs are playing where the NFL's from, and again, they scored 41 points, and Andy Reid got his 131st win with the Chiefs in this game, and he got his 271st win, the 58th prime, and again, I mean, it's nothing but script. So anyway, Super Bowl 4 is when the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, and then they won their next Super Bowl 50 years later, where Chiefs in San Francisco are 50, and Super Bowl 54 was the 50th of the modern era. But I got to admit that score, 23-7. You think it had something to do with Mahomes winning the Super Bowl in 23? I wonder if it has anything to do with this being the 23-24 season and that ritual they did against Minnesota in 2023. Back in week 5, like I was just showing you. So sometimes these scores are about like what's to come. Because it's all part of an ongoing script. And the year before that, it was Broadway Joe as a major underdog, guaranteeing that he would win the Super Bowl. They were like, what were they, like a 2-touchdown underdog, and they won 16-7. Now, where's the 39 tribute in this game? 16-7 is it. The number 167 is the 39th prime number. It's like the other night I said, watch, Luka's going to have 167 three-pointers made on the season after this game in New York, and what do you know? He beats Brooklyn, and he ends up on 167 three-pointers, and then his next game was against the New York Knicks, but I was like, how perfect. How perfect. And Tim Hardaway Jr., we also predicted he'd finish that game on 154 three-pointers made for the season, which he did, because Brooklyn Nets is 154. And it's like last night we knew number 9 for the Blazers was going to have a monster game on the 9-date numerology. He went on to have his career high. 39th pick of the draft, 39th day of the year. What you going to do? Call it all a coincidence? Eat another hot dog? Guzzle another $20 Bud Light? You know what I mean? Okay. And but let's not forget, this Super Bowl right here, this was the 68-69 season, the New York Jets. Only Super Bowl winning season, the year that 911 was made the code and World Trade Center construction began, you know what I mean? And then it was Mo Lewis, the New York Jet, who ransacked Drew Bledsoe to bring in Tom Brady, the GOAT. I need like some redneck dumbasses behind me go, hooah, or whatever they do on that Pat McAfee show. I'm like, God, this is like the trailer trash park. I forget what noise they make. I can't stand that show. Guy's got a mullet. It's just like, oh my God. Anyway, Green Bay, of course, won the first 2 Super Bowls with Jesuit Vince. 35 in the first one. Beat the Chiefs 35-10. Then came back the next year with 33-14 over Oakland. And their symbol's the big G, right? That's the symbol of masonry. And, of course, masonry's 33. And then there were 47 points in the game. They went in the 47th NFL season, and then the next year there's 47 points. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. It's about foundation. It's why the first NFL season was in the 47th NFL season. Where was the Super Bowl that I just was totally dumbfounded on? It was that Oakland, Minnesota one, right? What season was that again? 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. 57. Okay. This is like, maybe. It was the 57th season. Scottish Rite is 57, right? The middle degree of the Scottish Rite is 32. Again, American football is cardio Scottish Rite Freemason. I'm just seeing 32 points in the 57th season, but I don't feel like that's a great explanation. I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into that one. But yeah, this took longer than I thought it was going to take. God, I've been going for almost 2 hours. I didn't think it was that long, but I knew it was longer than I expected, so. Anyhow. Shout out to the one super chatter. He appreciated it. Brady hit 201 versus Rams indeed. Got his first Super Bowl in 2001 versus the Rams. That's true. Won his last Super Bowl in 2021. And he had 201 passing yards in his last Super Bowl in the box score. And then he got divorced from the lady born on the 201st day of the year. All right, well, we got through almost all of them and made a very keen observation in just about every single one. All but one. And again, if we went deeper, there'd be a lot more. And had we been doing Gematria since 1966, we just have a whole lot of more things to say about these games. So, if anybody else has any observations about scripted Super Bowls that you're just dying to share, you can't believe I didn't notice or I forgot to say, let's take a little bit of calls. And depending on how good the calls are, depends on how long we'll go on for. But anyhow. And again, be sure to join us on Patreon because we'll be going over the things that matter for Super Bowl 58. So I just switched over the audio setting. There's two ways to join the stream. There's the phone if you want to call in, and I'll also drop the link if you'd like to join that way. But yeah, we're talking Super Bowls, and I'd rather people save the Super Bowl 58 information for our stream tomorrow on Patreon, but I just dropped the link in the chat if you'd like to join that way. And then if you'd like to call in, I'm opening up the phone right now, and if you don't know the number, I'll get it up here on the screen. And just as a heads up, though, if you want to call in, it's a $500 super chat, okay? Send the 500 and then make the phone call. I'm just joking. Well, what's up? What's up, 586?
What's going on, man? All right, this is a reach, but going back on that Super Bowl 11, it was played in California. It was in 1977. Brady was born in 77.
Oh, man, I don't know that. No, I like where I see it already. He's got the Minnesota connection, the Tuck rule with the Raiders. Tom Brady equals 46, 199th pick of the draft, 46 prime. I think you got it. I think that's it.
Crazy.
I think that's it. No, you're right. Let's see how many days this game was before Brady's August 3rd birthday. No, I think you're absolutely right. That's why that game is an outlier. That's why I said sometimes it's about the future.
I just thought of his being born in 77, then I seen the 46 total points.
Yeah, no, that's a big number with Brady. That is a big number with Brady. My God, he was born. Okay, think about how weird this is. He was born 206 days after that Super Bowl. We were just talking about how Harbaugh's just his championship with Michigan was all synced with Brady in 206.
206, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy right there. Man. And hold up. Didn't Michigan just beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl and keep Saban on 206 wins too? Because that year the Super Bowl was in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I believe that's right too.
Wow. That's wild. I think you nailed it. I think that's what they did. I think that's why that one's different. And it's Super Bowl 11. It's a special number, so they did something special. They synced it up with the chosen one. Huh.
So yeah, 11, the master number.
Mm-hmm. It was Drew Bledsoe, number 11, who was in, and he got taken down by Mo Lewis, the New York Jet, after the towers came down, looking like a big 11 in the 11th state, and then the rest was history with Tom Brady. Wow.
Did you ever look into from the year he was, what was he, 23 or 24 when he took over or whatever it was? Was it 2000 he took over? So he was like 23 or something, 22?
Are you talking about Brady?
Yeah.
Brady took over in 2001 after 9/11. Brady took over on September 13th, 2001, right after 9/11.
Yeah. I'm sure it's all connected, man. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll let somebody else get in. I just seen that 1977, I seen 46, and so I thought Brady immediately. Then I seen it was in California, so I was like, man, it's got to be.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what it is. And then seeing the 206 and everything we talked about this year, it just makes too much sense. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, man. Yep, sure.
By the way, shout out to the Golden Eagle. The Gold Eagle. I appreciate it. What's up, 501?
Oh, what's good? Hey, man, I've been watching your shows for a pretty good while. You bring up a lot of interesting stuff. I do my part to pass the word off. I really got some questions for you because I know you were talking about the Super Bowls, and I've always actually really paid attention to Dallas as far as their Super Bowl win. Me personally, I always go back to the President Kennedy assassination that happened right there in Dallas when Dallas came into the league 3 years prior. So my thing is, okay, if Kennedy is not assassinated in Dallas, the Cowboys don't win 5 Super Bowls. The logo, the pentagram, the Pentagon, them being America's team, you name it. There's a lot of stuff linked up. I just wanted to hear what you had to say about that, and I'll continue watching the show.
Just a reminder, JFK was the first Catholic president, number 35, killed at age 46. Catholic equals 35 and 46. And if you don't know, Dallas, Interstate 35 is where he was assassinated. And, like I always say, it's all the same people are running the show, from, what happens in the Oval Office to what happens on the gridiron. So, yeah, I'd say you're right that it's all part of the script. And 1963 was a year that, half the NFL joined the league that year. So
Right. You know, so just like I say, I've been watching it, and then I know you talked about Super Bowl 12, and I actually really put down in the comments that was the first time, as far as I know, that was the first time, as far as like the Super Bowl era, that a head coach actually like really coached the opposition's quarterback, because Craig Morton, he was a quarterback for the Cowboys. So when Dallas and Denver met in Super Bowl 12, Tom Landry already knew what this guy was going to do at quarterback. So it was an easy win, just like it was an easy win for the Bucs when they played against who was that? The Raiders, because Gruden had came over. He was the Raiders coach. Then he switches to Tampa Bay, so he knows everything about the quarterback. So it was a sure win back in Super Bowl 12. It was a sure win when Tampa Bay and the Raiders won. So yeah, I see where you're going with it, you know, but I just thought that I would throw those little things in for you.
all right. Well, I'll look more into all that. I appreciate the history and the observations. Thank you.
All right, then. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Yep.
By the way, this whole thing about 206, just remember, Michigan Wolverines who just had this massive 206 ritual this year, beating the 206 area code. Again, the campus is 206 years old. The gematria of the university is 206. But where this number really gets significance from is how many bones are in an adult body, 206. And they say the body's the temple. And funny enough, the phrase Masonic temples 206, you're wondering where they're writing the scripts at. Again, the headquarters of the Jesuits is directly across the street from the world headquarters of Masonry. And again, all the American sports are credited to Masons, and they etch on the temple Allah's number. So 206, no slouch of a number. And if you haven't read my first book, Letters and Numbers, I talk all about 26 and 206 in it. Let's go out to Nicholas. What's up, Nicholas?
Should go jump in a bathtub and get up.
Oh, it's a troll. It's a troll, Nicholas. Thanks for coming on, troll. Okay. My trolls are always ready to go with the recordings of things they hate that I said. Okay. We got a question here from the Golden Eagle. Let's take his question since he's got the generous pockets. Mac Lee Hill. 586, sit tight real quick. You're next up, but I just want to look at this Mac Lee Hill question real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Mac Lee Hill, back in the day, former Chiefs player. Maybe what you're asking is, oh, wait. So he died 58 years before this season. That's interesting. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. That is interesting that he died. Yeah, he did die 58 years before the season. I don't remember this player because he's way before my time. So they just put up the Kobe statue on the anniversary of Derek Thomas' death, the 24th death anniversary. He wore 58 for the Chiefs. Kobe Bryant equals 58. Kobe died right before Mahomes went on this rampage in Super Bowls. Kobe Bean Bryant's 54, like it all started with Super Bowl 54. Kobe dead the Sunday before. Son equals 54 as well, dead on a Sunday. I'm going to have to look more into Mac Lee Hill, but I see why you asked, because he died 58 years before this season. Okay, caller, what's up?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I just thought of this, too, when we were just talking about the Brady stuff. So this is with LeBron, and I'm sure you probably know this, but I figure I'd bring it to light. So he was born 201 days after the Lakers finals in the 84 finals when they played Boston.
Right.
And then he was born 66 days after Michael Jordan's debut.
Yeah, and his birth is also synced with when Chamberlain set the points record that he just passed.
Yeah, so my whole thing is like these crazy, they call them the GOATs, the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Bradys. As you know, Manchurian, I'm sure they're given their names, given their birthdates, given everything, and it's just the script that they are born with, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I've been saying. Born and bred to be.
The 199th pick and they just become the GOAT. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, born and bred to
People
be.
believe this shit.
Yeah, it's just like, Kobe's death at 41. He also died, or he retired 41 years after his dad was drafted in the league by Golden State, which equals 41. And if anyone remembers Kobe's last game, he scored 60. The rest of his team scored 41. ESPN 1 and ESPN 2 had Kobe's last game on, and the Warriors eclipsing Jordan's record. And
the 81-point game that he just got the statue, that was him pointing the Baphomet shit. The Lakers scored 41 points in that game when he scored the 81.
And Kobe being Bryant's 81, and it was his 666th game.
His last game.
Yeah.
He shot his last shot over number 41 on Utah.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But I figured I'd just call in on that LeBron shit. I'm sure there's stuff to Michael Jordan when he was born in 63 and all that craziness. Maybe with the JFK assassination. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's probably all synced up. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, man. You have a nice night.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. All right. Do we have any other observations? But yeah, I think that caller cracked it with Super Bowl 11. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that all this time, but it looks like, and that's kind of spooky to think about. It's like, oh, man, are we gonna have a pause on Super Bowls like we did in the World Wars? Sports championships. The word end is 58. It's like, wow, that's crazy how they got Brady. Woo, man. Why would Las Vegas have turf issues? I mean, haven't they had a football team there for years? I'd assume they'd have this figured out by now. $218.
The Ravens kicker failed. Another wrong prediction.
Oh, thanks, Troll. Yeah, well, what did we say all year? We said it would be the Chiefs or the Ravens, and anyone on my Patreon knows that in week 3, we said that the Chiefs had the best narrative after what Andy Reid did. These moronic trolls. So, yeah, another nice year for futures. No doubt about it. Oh, the call-in line, yeah, I took it down, my bad. I'll put it back up. If you want to phone in, you got some more rigged Super Bowl observations. That's what we are talking about. We'll be talking about Super Bowl 58 tomorrow on Patreon. I did give you some nice clues in this stream if you watched it, but yeah, I know the trolls with their recordings. It's like, they're too nervous to call in and even try it. It's like, let me do the recording and make my voice sound deeper. $763.
Hello, Zach.
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to point out Super Bowl 39 was the last repeat. And the score of that game was 24-21. Patriots won.
Oh, yeah.
And if Chiefs win this
Super Bowl, right. We just talked about this yesterday on our Patreon.
21.
Yeah, indeed. And I just asked people to save the Super Bowl 58 stuff for the streams, get people to support the work. But
okay.
Yeah, so
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't an accident. Anyway, appreciate it, man. So yeah, that was one of our observations from Patreon yesterday. So I'm sure he listened and was like, here, I'm one of the trolls on Patreon. Let me call in and give it away. But yeah, again, it is all a script, you guys. You study the past, you see the future in this rigged league, no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah, Bill Vinovich is working the Super Bowl. He's worked a few Super Bowls. Giannis has a commercial where he says 5 or 6. For people who don't get it, Bucks is 56. Phoenix Suns is 56. See how Phoenix Suns is also 133? They play in the Footprint Center. The other night, they played exactly 133 weeks after those finals ended, and the team with the 133 connection won. But Anyway, if we don't have a whole lot of calls, we can just wrap it up, leave it there. And again, you want to join us tomorrow? We'll be streaming on Patreon talking about Super Bowl 58, the seemingly good clues that are nice tells for the game. See if we can hit another nice big prop bet. See if we can get that first touchdown. Last year we had every prop bet right except for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts ran in his touchdowns instead of passing them. He didn't get the amount of touchdowns we expected. He just ran them in instead of throwing them, which I should have thought more about because Jalen Hurts does run in a lot of touchdowns. But, last year we just killed it. We had the over, we had the Chiefs, and every player prop we had except for one came through. What's up, 813?
Yes, I was calling back to some Super Bowl observations I just looked up. Super Bowl 11.
Okay.
I was looking at the coach. I just looked at the coaches. It was 131 days from Grant's birthday at the time.
There you go. There you go.
And for John Madden, it was 91 days after his birthday, and Vikings equal 91.
And he's from Minnesota, I think, John Madden too. So
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys won Super Bowl 12, 201 years after America was established.
Interesting. America's team.
And I was looking at Super Bowl 15 with the Raiders. I didn't see nothing for their coach. But I see Dick Vermeil's birthday was 87 days from his birthday, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, that's an Eagles number. Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, you go through and you decode these deeper, you'll find a whole lot more.
Oh, yes. And I'm in Tampa, so I was over the Buccaneers one. First of all, Buccaneers equal 37.
Okay.
And I was seeing it was 29 weeks from Gruden's birthday, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers was 109 to 29 prime.
Yep.
And at the time, because I don't think he won another playoff game after that. So at the time when he won that Super Bowl, he came 5-2 in the playoffs for his career, and Raiders is 52. So.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's all I've seen so far.
Hey, I gotta ask you something. Were you? This is years ago now. It was a Monday Night Football game. The Raiders. It was back in the Derek Carr Raider days. They were playing the Chiefs, and the game had like a whole bunch of 52s on it. That was back in the free days. I just put out for free. I said the Raiders are going to win this game as an upset. It's going to be all about 52. There was like 1 million penalties thrown at the end of the game. They had to keep redoing the final play, and then finally it was Derek Carr's 52nd pass of the game. Won it for the Raiders over the Chiefs. And those days were more fun because we got a lot more views, and I did do everything for free, and way more people saw. But I said, "What I tell you, it's going to be all about 52." There it is, 52nd pass of the game after 1 million BS penalties to make sure the game had the right outcome. So, all right. Well, appreciate the call. Great research. Anything else? 813. Oh no, he hung up. Yeah, it would be fun to just go through and decode every Super Bowl. You know, you just got to look at the big stars, the QBs, the coaches, and you could do a Super Bowl 1 through whatever one you're on by the time you finish the book, and it would be nothing but script exposed. No caller ID.
Hey, Zach, what's going on, brother? How are you? I just want to say, don't worry about the trolls and them saying, talking crap about your Ravens pick. Because when the Ravens do win the Super Bowl, just tell everybody, say, hey, listen, I called that in 2023. I told you guys in 2023 they would win.
So since you're a troll that follows the – oh, he hung up. Yeah, just the trolls, no caller ID. Again, everybody knows in the community that we didn't think the Ravens really even had a shot once the playoffs started with Andy Reid sitting on 58 losses. But again, all year, first team I put out for the AFC was the Chiefs. We said they had the most straightforward narrative to potentially become 4-2 on the 42nd day of the year. And everybody knows on the Patreon since week 3, I've said the Chiefs have the best narrative at the Super Bowl. So there can be zero doubt about that. It's what I've been emphasizing all season. Anyone who doesn't know that is a moron. Period. End of discussion. 925, what's up?
Hey, Zach, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's up?
I was wondering if you knew that it was 42 years since the 49ers' first Super Bowl.
42 years since, because it was Super Bowl 16. So.
Yeah. So it's just hella funny how it lines up with them, being the team that the Chiefs can beat and become 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. You got another 42 connection. And the NFC Championship was about 42 because you had Detroit from the 42nd parallel versus the 42 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a friend of mine that I showed your video to, and he's still bet on the 49ers. I'm like, dude, there's no way the 49ers are going to win this game, man. And he's like so sure in his brain that the 49ers are the better team. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter because it's scripted. It's fake. None of this is real. And I tried to show him all the 42s, and he still doesn't believe it. Like Brock Purdy can fall to 4-2. The Chiefs can get to 4-2 in Super Bowls. It's been 42 years since the Niners' first Super Bowl. Dude, my friend is so brain dead. I'm just like, dude, come on, man, wake up. And like,
but like I also just said, let's save the Super Bowl 58 stuff for tomorrow's stream. We're just talking about past Super Bowls right now. So,
all right.
Yeah. 929.
Yeah, what's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
This is a little bit about football and basketball because I see that the year that the Jets won in '69, they won with 16 points. And that was the season where they started building the World Trade Center, right?
Okay.
So with them winning with 16 points in 2001, NBA player Sebastian Telfair, he was 16 years old, and he was at Abraham Lincoln High School, and Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. Now to go with the 9/11, Sebastian Telfair, the day he was born has a date numerology of 119. So I thought that was an interesting connection. But that's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, Sebastian Telfair. The Blazers took him out of high school, and I was just always scratching my head about that draft pick. I just thought, I don't think he's that good at basketball.
Yeah. Huh?
I never thought, I was never impressed with Sebastian Telfair. I thought that was one of the worst draft picks in history. So.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I thought when the Blazers drafted him. I was just like, what are they doing? Like, what's impressive about this guy?
Well, let me add something else in there. He was the same pick as Kobe Bryant, and the year Kobe Bryant died, his mom and his brother died.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean about these guys who are born to be in the league and maybe don't deserve to be there. Like Kobe had the skills, but Telfair, I
know you. Yeah, you said that. I heard you. I watched it, and I agree in some on some players, but not every player. I think a lot of them, most of them is very talented, but some of them they just scripted.
Yeah. We'll have to look into all that. I didn't know that information you shared. It is interesting. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right.
All right, we got a guy in the room. We'll see. Is it a troll or is it a real person? Jackson.
There's a lot of people that
Yeah, it's a troll. How did I guess? It was a troll? So, isn't it amazing how motivated the trolls are to hang around and just always lie? It's amazing how my trolls are always lying. I mean, seriously. You know how bad of a lie it is to say that Baltimore was the team? All year we said the AFC Championship would be Kansas City and Baltimore, but literally actually the first feature of the year was the Chiefs, and literally since week 3, I've emphasized over and over how big the ritual was with the Chiefs. And we did see after week 1 what would happen if they started the year 4-1 by getting their 4th win. So anyone telling you anything else different is nothing but a liar and a fraud. Now, what's up, 904?
What's up, brother?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey man, I'm trying to figure out who because I know you said that the Kansas City and them going to the playoffs this year, right? So are they gonna win?
Join us on Patreon tomorrow.
You say join the Patreon tomorrow? What's the link? You gonna put the link in the chat?
It's in the link. It's in the description of every video. Patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. There's about 1,000 links on the internet because they're in all my videos. But appreciate it, man. Thank you. What's up, 954?
Hey, Zach. I'm a huge fan. I even own your book.
Thank you.
Hey, I've been watching you for like almost a decade now, and I just came across something while you were speaking from February 10th, 1967, the 25th Amendment. And I noticed that Biden was, a lot of people were pressing him about the NBA invoking the 25th Amendment on him and stuff like that. So I wanted to see if anything like that had to do with I know you didn't want to talk about this Super Bowl, but I just kind of had to. So the February 10th, 1967 to the Super Bowl is, if you don't count that one single day, it's 57 years. So if 57, rings any bells for you, I just thought you'd like to hear that.
Okay. Interesting observation.
A huge fan. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Take care. Yeah, Gematria32, you can't possibly be blocked because when you asked me that, I just unblocked everyone on the channel, which is why all the trolls are able to spam again. So if you're not showing up, there's something else going on there. All right. We can take a few more calls and then we'll wrap it up here. Again, if you want to phone in, you got an observation about past Super Bowls. Again, like I said, something I overlooked, observation you got that I didn't know about, please feel free to call in and share that. We will cover Super Bowl 58 tomorrow on Patreon. And again, it's just amazing how the trolls are always the most motivated to call in. Absolutely pathetic. It's like the only thing to say really about Baltimore and Kansas City is I was dead on again, and Kansas City being there, also dead on again. We didn't flinch at all with Kansas City in the playoffs. They became 5-8 in the wild card round. Andy Reid on 58 losses, sacrificed his son on 5-8. What's up, 859?
I'm sorry, wrong number.
Wrong number. Okay. Oh, no caller ID. Let's see. Probability of troll is high. No caller ID.
Roderick is a fraud. Roderick is a fraud.
Well, what's the point of calling in and saying that he's a fraud? Who are you?
Roderick is a fraud.
You guys are so lame. For people don't know who Rod Drake is, he's another good contributor to the community. These people are pathetic. What's up, 217?
What's going on, Z man?
Yeah, what's up?
My dude.
Yep. What's going on?
Hey, I've been I'm not a huge football fan anymore. I'm like 30 years old. I come from a little small suburban town of Chicago, Decatur, Illinois.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny, man, how like people, don't think this stuff is like real. I used to be one of them people who be like, man, all this shit. And these dudes spend all this time going through like middle school, high school, Pee Wee League, doing all this stuff just to realize when you get to a high level, it's certain things you got to accomplish and certain things you got to do for these higher ups in order to, survive and maintain throughout this like football career. Some of them kind of like tend to wait in and out as they're like playing throughout their career. Like you can tell by the way, one year he goes for like 1,300 yards rushing, then like the next year he's like 500 yards. Like it's the imbalancing of like athletes and like their abilities. Like how you get so far high into this atmosphere to where now that you're in the astrolosphere, you just can't be able to, be consistent.
Exactly.
And I got another observation. It's kind of funny how you're born into certain things, because I feel like these guys are born to do certain things, and I feel like I was born to do certain things. I have a very special birthday, which I don't want to get too far into my life. It ain't about me. It's about, like you said, exposing the truth, man. Because you got people who, like I said, I go through it every day. I have a important job. I make food from scratch to feed the world. So, and like I said, I don't want to really get
too far deep into the rabbit hole, but basically, man, I'm a Vikings fan. So throughout the years, you know, like I didn't see like, dude, harvesting energy heartbreak. Because like I said, I was a part of it. You know, like it would get you so upset. It would get you so mad. Where like you're literally ready to go out there and like risk it just because these guys couldn't cover your ass in the sense to where why are you expecting a grown man to cover your ass? But see, that's where the betting comes into play. Because people can't do things on their own, you know, so you'll bet on another man to do the job for you. The whole time this guy's doing a job that's not even for you, it's for somebody higher that you can even ever imagine.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, I got to ask you, do you remember the day before they opened U.S. Bank Stadium for the Vikings fans? Do you remember who died that day?
Oh, man. Ooh. Dude, you know, I'm telling you, if we go down this rabbit hole, man, it's going to get deep. But so the first game we played against, I think it was.
No, it was but the day you guys opened the stadium, but do you remember who died the day before you opened the stadium to the fans? It was before the season even began. It was in July.
Oh, man. Was it Dennis Green?
It was Denny Green. Yep.
Dennis Green.
He died on what we call the kill date that month, sadly. R.I.P. But it was just so blatant. It was like they were hyping they're going to open this new stadium, and then he just dies the day before. It's just like, how don't people notice this stuff? I mean, it's just sick.
You know what's even funnier? This is where I was like, because Dennis Green was a very. This is what people don't understand about the color purple, man. Me, I've been purple is my favorite color. So that's why I was able to gravitate towards the Vikings, gravitate towards the Lakers, Kobe, you know, like it goes deep in it. Oh, these guys just got skill. No, it's the colors. So when a guy, you know, leaves the team, you don't leave with him. Yeah, he was a great player for the team, but you don't leave with him because it's about the deepen in the colors. That's why these guys don't wear black and white uniforms, man. Trust me, if they wore all black and white uniforms in the NFL, nobody would care because okay, everybody wears the same uniform. Okay, cool. But guess what? It's the colors that gravitate towards people. It's the vibration. And that's where the energy comes from. Like I said, man, every time the Vikings got close to anything close to a Super Bowl, see, this is how they did it. Bud Grant, people don't understand this. Bud Grant used to play for the Minnesota Lakers. The Minnesota Lakers, yeah, y'all remember the Minnesota Lakers? Who won the first ever championship this year? But guess what they're called now? The Los Angeles Lakers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You still with me, Zach?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally following.
Yeah. So
I just want to remind people about. So that was the media was bringing. We knew they were baiting people once the media started bringing attention to the Super Bowl logo and color, because that has been a thing in recent years, and we were looking at that. But they did do purple and red in both conference championships. Of course, the Ravens and the Chiefs was obvious, but the 49ers versus the Lions also had a purple and red thing going, because the original Lions team were called the Portsmouth Spartans, and they wore purple and gold, a lot like the Huskies, who lost to Michigan this year in the championship. And so you technically had these teams with this purple and red history in both conference championships. And then again, Taylor Swift's a huge part of this thing. Again, Taylor Allison Swift equals 104 for the 104 season. The album she put out right before the start of the year, Speak Now, which equals 104, is a purple album cover. So
yeah, I feel like it would have been an ultimate like slap to the face to every NFC North fan for okay, the Lions haven't been anything ever since I've been born. I was born in '93, so they haven't been anything. They went to conference championship '92. I was nowhere near even thought of. But to get here 30 years later, I'm just like, yeah, they'll probably let them get to the championship. Come on, man, it's the Lions. So the Lions were Lions. Throughout the years, I've seen them, just do weird stuff. But then they got this guy Dan Campbell coming around out of nowhere, and like I'm saying, his first win was against who? The Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this thing it's a sick joke, Like I said, at the end of the day, if there's Viking fans out here who got gravitational hope, I'm telling you guys like this, and this is the only clue I'm gonna say. If anybody remember the 33-0 comeback from the Vikings with the Colts.
Yeah, that was last year on Saturnalia. That was last year on Saturnalia. And what's hilarious is the two teams with the big Saturnalia connection are Indianapolis and the Vikings, and that was the first game on that Saturday of Saturnalia, and that was the record comeback. And God, I'm trying to remember what the other thing was. Oh, the coach of the Colts, Frank Reich at the time, he was involved in the biggest comeback in NFL history prior to that game last year. That's why it's just such a joke.
It's a joke. You know why? Because before that comeback, every time the Vikings would get to the NFC Championship game, they would come so close and then lose. People don't understand the Vikings haven't been to the Super Bowl since Bud Grant had coached. Think about that. After he stopped coaching, the Vikings could never get back. Every time they would get back, what would they do? They would sacrifice. The next year, Bud Grant would lose a sibling. He lost a wife, a son. And guess what? After they came back from that 33, you can put Bud Grant in a calculator. He's 33.
Yeah, that's how they do it. That's how they do it.
Comeback. Listen to me. The Vikings were 10-3. They went to 11-3 after that win. Guess what? They lost to the Giants in the playoffs. After that lucky comeback.
Sure.
The next year, which was last year, y'all can look this up, man. It's open information. That's how you'll find out knowledge. Bud Grant died on March 11th. 3-11. You flip it, 11-3. The same way when they came back from 33 to win against the Colts. There you go. Bud Grant's gone now, so you know what? He died at 95. Guess what Super Bowl's next? 59. Flip it, 95. You got Justin Jefferson dancing all around. Wow. You know what I mean? All the commercials. Wow.
I haven't seen the Justin Jefferson ad. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll see it. I'm pretty sure everybody will see it at halftime. They said that the big ad for the New Orleans, all this stuff, that stuff will be, I also told people it's kind of funny that how the Vikings lost to Cincinnati literally like twice the same exact way with the same exact score.
Okay.
Like I said, look this stuff up. I asked my girl, she doesn't watch football. She doesn't care. She knows how it gets me. So, throughout the years, I've been, slowly kind of breaking off all of the just negativity of, sports, video games, just things to where just so scripted in life to where it's a world stage. And I'm starting to understand that to where, more divineness in my soul and everything that I'm trying to figure out. But just besides everything else, man, I just wanted to let people know, man, this, me being a diehard, I came in at 11 years old, watching Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper. You can see the theatrics, and the more you watch, the more you just kind of gravitate towards things. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a Super Bowl party. It was the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, and I'm like, man, Tom Brady. At first, I'm like, no, because I'm still in and out about who's gonna win. I got a huge buddy. He's a Patriots fan, but he follows Tom Brady. So, man, I'm just going back and forth, and then we bet, and then I'm like, you know what? I take the bet back. Now I'm just bro, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. This guy, he was morally sent to destroy the Vikings. I could go super deep into it, but just when that Super Bowl happened, I said, wait, Patrick Mahomes was playing. I was like, dude, I swear to you, I have 3 daughters. I swear. I just jumped up out of nowhere. It's Patrick Mahomes is going to take a sack, and it's going to be 3rd and 33. I spewed it out. Everybody looked at me like I was just stupid. And then he took the crazy sack, and it was 3rd and 33. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. You just yeah, how it's a yeah. You understand. You don't understand, how did all this stuff just be fake?
Right. Right. Just in light of all the 131s we've been talking about the Super Bowl, I'll remind you, last year Kelsey got his 131st career combined touchdown in the Super Bowl. We knew that was a lock. I mean, it's just that's why you pay attention to these numbers. You just see year after year they're doing the same stuff. And by the way, it can be more than numbers. Last year, the reason I had the over on the Super Bowl is because HBO was doing a remake of some video game. I think it was called The Last of Us. And somebody pointed out to me that in the video game, it's Pittsburgh is the city where they're at, not Kansas City. But the episode that came out right before the Super Bowl on HBO, and you have to understand, HBO is run by the Jesuits, the same people that are scripting your NFL, but they changed it from Pittsburgh to Kansas City, which are Len Dawson's teams who died before the season. But there's a shootout in the scene, a big old shootout. Everyone's just shooting guns everywhere in Kansas City. And I was like, that's the sign this is going to be a high-scoring Super Bowl. That was my total intuition, and that's exactly what they did. So, because it's like, why else would they change it to Kansas City and put that episode out the day before the Super Bowl if that's not what they're doing? And that's how you start to see how it's just all scripted. So,
Man, definitely scripted. Yeah, man. The Warriors just beat the Indiana Pacers like 131. I'm just thinking like 131. Steph Curry hit like 11 trades. I'm just like, like the 131, the 131 Super Bowl hit, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I asked my girl, like, she don't watch sports, like women they have gut feelings, they can just point it out. They can see through it. So I'm like, hey, who you think gonna win? Just pick a team. Like, you don't know who's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, San Francisco 49ers. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's funny. I got the Chiefs winning. I don't care who wins. I just want to see who will win. But kind of funny just to see. I'm gonna keep the Chiefs. Just to see. But I do believe she's right. I do believe you guys. I don't know who your pick is, but I believe that the Niners might tie this thing up.
What do you mean tie this thing up?
As far as like in the past, like recent years, I know basically starting coming into the COVID, it was the Chiefs winning, and I think like coming out of like the fake COVID, the Niners going to basically tie it up like 1-1 in the past like 5 years, basically.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, you take it easy, man. Appreciate what you do, man. Don't let trolls get to you. Like I said, it's the last of the days, man. It's just like The Last of Us, bro. It's good, all the good, they're making it evil, and all the evil, now they're turning it good. So, you just got to roll with the punches, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep that head up high.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, take care. Thank you.
Take it easy.
All right, hold on, 954. I gotta answer Mr. Generosity again. Thank you once again, Jehovah's Thickness. Again, it's just math, right? So 2024, 20 plus 24 is 44, right? So all year it's going to be that way, just in the year alone. So all you have to do for each month is figure out which 2 days add together that are plus 20. So here we are in February. So 2 plus 18 is 20. So that's going to be the kill date for the month. Because again, the kill date has 64 numerology as well as 44. 2 plus 18 plus 24 is 44. 2 plus 18 plus 20 plus 24 is 64. It's like Denny Green died on July 21st, 2016. 7 plus 21 plus 20 plus 16, 64. 7 plus 21 plus 16 is 44. RIP to Denny Green. But anyway, so 2/18, then the next month's 3/17, then April 16th, then May 15th, then June 14th, that's Trump's birthday, then July 13th, then August 12th, and September 11th, interesting date. And then October 10th, and then November 9th, and then December 8th. So you just got to do the math. But again, appreciate the generosity, Jehovah's Thickness. All right, the person who I put on hold hung up. Maybe it's because they were a troll and they didn't want to wait. So let's see. Can we get a few more good calls about past Super Bowls? And again, if you guys can be like more efficient with the call, that's always great too. But here, we'll take a couple more calls. 954. 954? 954. They just hung up. They must be a troll. I think that's the same person who just called a second ago. For the person in the chat that said they think Joe Burrow's just like Josh Allen, well, you got to remember, Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow was selected right after the Joe Montana Bowl for the Bengals, who Joe Montana beat 2 times. 586.
Yeah, what's going on, man? This ain't about the past Super Bowl, but if you look at that picture you got up on your screen, it's just funny how they just throw the numbers in people's faces and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
If you add 54 plus 23 plus 87 plus the 38, you got the 202.
Yeah, I saw somebody in the chat say, for the guy in the chat who's butthurt because I didn't endorse his shit astrology decodes that were wrong every time, he knows who I'm talking to. He's like, what's the gematria with this? Well, we already been saying all year, moron, since we had a future before the season began. Joe Montana equals 54. It's the second Joe Montana Bowl, the 54th Super Bowl of the modern era. And San Francisco equals 202. That's how old Missouri is. This is Andy Reid's 202nd game. So again, put away the astrology that's not helping you. Pay attention to what we're doing and stop trying to talk shit in the chat. I'm getting tired of this guy. You're going to get blocked next. Anyway, you got more, caller?
I thought that was funny, man. I added all the numbers up and I seen the 202. San Francisco 202. Andy Reid on his 202nd game.
Yeah.
So I figured that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. I just noticed that. I'm like, man, they put it in everything, anywhere. You can always find it if you look deep enough.
Yeah. And again, we'll talk more about where that one other 202 is in tomorrow's game because there's another big one, but we'll save that for the people who are on Patreon. So, anyway, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Bye, man. Yep.
And I don't mean to put down astrology. It is another part of it. It's just I don't like the guy in the chat that's just hanging around lately with his little chippy comments. And what I just said is true. He was doing bullshit astrology decodes that were total trash. So, and now he's acting like, again, for all the losers in the chat, like, well, you guys, I have destroyed the Super Bowl since I've been here, okay? And nobody can say otherwise. Show me another person who has a higher pick percentage in the world in futures. You can't do it. You're at the one place where it's happened. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, what's up?
I noticed you've been talking a lot about Patrick Mahomes and Kobe Bryant having a bunch of parallels. Have you ever looked into Patrick Mahomes and Steph Curry having a lot of parallels? Because, he's about to play San Francisco, the team that Curry plays for. He won his first one, lost his second one, won his third one, and is looking to win his third appearance in the Super Bowl. He won it. And he's looking to win his fourth appearance, just like Curry. Won his first one, lost his second one, and then won his next two. And also, they played golf together last year. It was Klay Thompson and Steph Curry versus Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And in the Super Bowl pressers, they asked Patrick Mahomes who he compares to the most as a basketball player, and he says Steph Curry. So,
well, here I'll show you one thing. Funny thing about the gematria is Steph Curry, the guy born in the same hospital as LeBron James, but Steph Curry's got that nice 54 connection as well. So, Mahomes' playoff record right now is what? There's another connection there actually as well with Mahomes' playoff record if something happens in the Super Bowl. So, anyway.
It became obvious to me. He said it himself in the presser a few days ago. They asked him, who do you compare yourself to? He said Steph Curry. And they also kind of look alike too. They're both kind of the point guards for the modern dynasty in their respective sports.
Yeah, I do.
So I just wanted to bring that up. If you had anything else to add, then that's it, man.
All right.
You have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Sorry, 310. I didn't switch over quick enough. Hey, Zach, how's it
going, man?
Going all right. What's up?
Hey, what's the record with the Super Bowls with the 666 connection if the 49ers win?
They're not going to hit a 666. It's not going to happen. They would have had to win out X amount of games at the end of the year, but they didn't do it.
Oh, okay. All right. And then going along with this year's Super Bowl being on the 42nd day of the year and, Black history, I mean, historically, they've been shaming a lot of these black actors recently and musicians. Who's to say they're not going to shame Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage during...
But again, like I showed, the only two black coaches to win the Super Bowl both won in 42 rituals, and every black quarterback to win the Super Bowl is also won in a 42 ritual. So it's been a favorable number for black quarterbacks in the majority of Super Bowls. One of the only examples you can point to where they lost was Russell Wilson in Arizona, 42 state, losing on the goal line. But he'd already won a Super Bowl representing the 42nd state. So, and again, in that Super Bowl, Brady became 4-2 in Super Bowls, which is what I expected to happen in that one.
Right. And then what about Cam Newton losing?
Well, Cam Newton Super Bowls didn't have anything to do with 42.
All right.
And we had Cam Newton to lose in that Super Bowl. So. Well, actually, I take it back. I suppose in a way, since the 49ers were hosting, 49ers do have the 42 connection. I guess you could make an argument that there was a little 42 there, but that's not what that Super Bowl was about. And again, in that Super Bowl, in week 3, we told you the exact matchup. We told you exactly who was going to be the MVP, Von Miller. There hasn't been a defensive MVP since. And we also told you there'd be a Black Panther tribute at halftime, which Beyonce got criticized for dressing up as a Black Panther. We had it all figured out in week 3. 715? You got to mute your video. You got to mute your video.
I beg your pardon? That's me. I'm 715. So here's my question for you. You know, I found your YouTube channel on a post through Facebook. So here's my question for you, and I hear my voice in the background. You know, I'm questioning, so if this Super Bowl is a fix, and people are claiming that
every Super Bowl is fixed. Every Super Bowl is fixed. It's 2024. We've proven this beyond a shadow of a doubt the last decade. So we're not even going to talk about like if it's fixed. I mean, that's for the lemmings.
Okay. So then I need your opinion overall. Do you feel all our Super Bowls have been fixed? This has all been a game that, you know, our government uses, you know, all this.
Yes, 1,000,000% totally fixed. You have to be brain dead to not see it. 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots. I mean, you got to be brain dead. Tom Brady with no athleticism all day in the pocket. In the same way people couldn't see through 9/11, the most obvious lie, it's the same reason they can't see through the most obvious rig, the National Fixed League. This league's an embarrassment. I mean, how do you explain the Saints winning their first Super Bowl after Katrina beating Archie Manning's son? It's like you got to be brain dead to not even see through the scripts. The Joe Montana Bowl again. I mean, so obviously you didn't watch any of the stream. Maybe go back and rewind the stream and watch from the beginning.
Oh, I can't rewind it because you're live.
No, you can. You just drag the thing at the bottom, the red cursor to the back, and boom, you rewind it. You can rewind any live stream.
Oh, it will let me? Okay, because I've tried that on other live streams and it hasn't let me do it.
It does it on everybody's live stream. You just got to know how to do it. It's simple. You click on the little button thing and you just drag all the way to the left and it goes right to the beginning. You can do playback speed at 1.5 to go through it faster.
Okay. All right. How frequently are you on here?
24/7, 365 pretty much.
So can I ask you another question if it's not football related?
Okay.
Well, you know, everyone calls me a conspiracy theorist because of the things I'm saying. So what do you think of 2030, the Great Reset?
Well, they want everybody in virtual reality and Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. I have a book out there. It's called Number Games. You should read it.
Number Games?
Number Games by Zachary K. Hubbard. That's the one.
Okay.
Agenda 2030. Here's what you need to know. Agenda 2030. And Agenda 2030, that meeting ended on September 27th, which is the big Jesuit day. And it ended 54 days after Obama's 54th birthday. And he was one of the last speakers in Jesuit order equals 54. And if you've never seen the movie They Live, it's not an accident that Cable 54 is the enemy of the world. It's also not an accident. This is the second 54 Super Bowl. Super Bowl 54 and Super Bowl 58 are the 54th of the modern era. Joe Montana in Gematria equals 54. It's his two teams playing each other again. And he's a good Catholic there, Joe Montana, just like the majority of these athletes are who are chosen from a young age. So.
Okay. Another question for you. With our puppeteer presidents and Trump also, here's my issue. I don't believe either one of them what they said. Are you familiar with Jesse Ventura?
Of course.
Okay. Have you watched any of his YouTube videos? And do you remember when he was governor of Minnesota?
Yeah, I remember when he was a wrestler. I remember when he was governor. I remember when he had the show Conspiracy Theory.
Yes. Yes. So I had just watched another one. I've watched the 64 documents that that the government doesn't want us to know about. Is it the 64 or 61? Because apparently you're numerology, right? You're heavily into numerology.
I'm not into numerology. The Kabbalah is.
Okay. Well, then I'm.
Listen, I just want to pause that right there. The only reason I look at this is because I have a brain, right? When I start watching, I don't know what's wrong with everybody in this country when it's obvious everything's a number ritual every day. They're telling you everything's a number ritual. They have to tell you they're putting up the new Kobe statue on 2/8/24 because his daughter wore 2 and he wore 8 and he wore 24. They have to tear down towers in New York in an obvious demolition and tell you a man in a cave did it on 911, and nobody looks into anything and realizes that 911 was made the emergency dialing code in the same year World Trade Center construction began. Again, the people who run the world are numerologists. It's why they etch on their temple all is number. All I'm doing is showing what they're doing because it took me a while to figure it out, but then I did. And again, it's just, you have to understand that. If you can tell, I'm not being super nice to you because I don't like when people call in and ask questions like you did. And maybe I am rude and short-tempered, but it's just listen, I've been here for a decade, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt how rigged sports are every single day. And in a way, here's where my mindset is. I disrespect literally everybody in the world who doesn't know who I am. You're like, oh, I just found you on a Facebook post. I'm like, well, you haven't really been doing a good job of looking for truth. That's literally my mindset, just to let you know where I'm coming from. Because I've been here putting out videos every single day for a decade, showing how rigged everything is, from the elections to the sports to the news.
I didn't believe it.
Huh?
Okay. Never got back because I never believed it.
Good. And I was out on the corner for 100 days straight telling people they better wake up before this jab even comes out and listen to what Bill Gates said at his 2010 TED Talk about his 5 ways to depopulate the earth. You'd never believe the first thing that came out of his mouth. And again, you're not even allowed to talk about it on Google, or they take down your video for medical misinformation for quoting exactly what he said.
I question 9/11, but when you're around people who believe it, you're looked down on.
But do you worry about that? See, I know how it is. I was 18 when 9/11 happened, and I started getting talked shit to, and people challenged me to fight. I don't care. I talk back to them like they're fucking retards, which is a word that comes out of my mouth a lot because that's what this nation is. This is a nation of fucking retards. That's why they think the sports game's not rigged. That's why they're still voting in rigged elections. That's why they're still watching bullshit news. That's why they're going out and getting an experimental jab when Bill Gates said himself what it's really about. That's why Amazon redid the remake of Utopia in 2020 while everybody's on lockdown about billionaires faking a pandemic and then killing off the majority of the world's population with a vaccine. It's how people are so fucking dumb that they're not getting the joke. They're like, well, that's just an Amazon show. No, it's not, morons. Go back and listen to what Bill Gates said out of his own fucking mouth in 2010 about how we can depopulate the earth. And you know what? Here's where people get mad at me. I'm glad that they're doing this. I just wish they would have put more of the kill shot and more of the jabs, because these people need to fucking go. Because just like you said, they look down on you for knowing the truth. They start talking shit to you because you know the truth. They think being in their mental midgetry, going along with all the lies, makes them holier than thou. Fuck these people. I wish they would blow up the Super Bowl, because anyone still paying for a ticket in 2024 deserves to disappear in a cloud of dust. That's where I'm coming from. And people don't like that I say these things, but I don't give a shit because it's 100% how I feel.
Well, back in the mid-90s as well, Gates pulled some crap, and that's why he turned around and invented the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation when he should have actually been in prison.
Man, I'll tell you what, I moved to Seattle about a month or a couple months actually before they started building that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That was the nicest park in downtown Seattle they tore out to build that piece of shit place. And just right away, I was like, what a fucking scummy thing to do, to tear out the best park in downtown to build your shit foundation. Fuck you. So that was my first taste of Bill Gates when I moved to Seattle.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you bring these things up to people, and and I know that Jesse Ventura has been looked down on. That's why he kind of disappeared. People, they don't want to listen because they're so blind and brainwashed. It's wow. It's astounding to see.
Yeah, it is. And just to clarify for the people in the chat, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this. Aren't you the same people who've sat on your ass while your country's gone to war based on lies and blown about a gazillion brown people to smithereens? That's why you guys are fucking morons, okay? That's why you guys are fucking losers, and I don't care about your opinion. This nation is full of shitty, sorry-ass motherfuckers, okay? That's what this nation's full of. Fucking retards, fat fucks, still going and buying Coca-Cola's bullshit, filling up their cart with all this junk food while they're fat as fuck. So then I have to spend my tax money to pay for their Social Security, Medicare expenses, and all this shit. Fuck that. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Jab them and get them the fuck out of here. God. And all of you guys who don't resonate, it's because you're not fucking awake, okay? You're not awake. You're the ones sitting with your hands under your ass, waiting for the next rigged game, okay? Not doing shit.
Yeah. Well, then I'm sure like Catherine Dunn, the whistleblower there about the Iraq War, then too, right?
I know about all this stuff.
Should have never happened.
Yes.
Okay. So see, I told you, I've done my homework. Maybe I'm not as astute as you, but I have. Sadly, here's the sad thing. Okay, the doctors freaking put you on medication to dumb you down, so you won't think. When I finally broke off my medications in 2021 at my 60th birthday and went through withdrawals like you would not believe, it's like all of a sudden the brain fog was gone and I really started waking up to reality.
Well, I'm glad you're waking up, and you got thick skin because I was a real ass to you. So you won my respect. Apologies for being mean.
Hey, I can take it because I know what you're saying is true.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's certain things that trigger me, and I do get triggered easily, admittedly. But you got thick skin, and I respect that. You got. I wish the guys. Anyway, most guys couldn't take it all what I said, but you did. So hats off to you.
Hey, I appreciate your time, Zach, and or Zachary. I don't know what you prefer to be called. I appreciate your time and your honesty, and keep it moving because now I'm going to definitely watch you more and get a hold of. I'll look up your book too.
Okay, and just wait for them to delete my channel again because it happens all the time. So you'll always have to find the new channel. But appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a good one. Thank you very much for your time again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care. 304. No, see, this is a troll. Like, I was probably like quoting like what assholes and racists say. See, then they'll clip that and then they'll play it like, oh yeah, see, Zach's a racist. No, sorry guys, I've been here for the whole decade sticking up for black people too, and how the media shames them by a code. Go away, troll. 202.
Hey Zach, do you know what's interesting? I don't know. I just saw an article about Joe Montana. Saying that the 49ers, offense can beat this Chiefs team. And it is interesting that both his teams, last time the Chiefs won, what if his other team wins this year?
It's possible. It's possible.
Both his teams, same rematch. What if, first it was the Chiefs, now they're paying tribute to, his other team, the 49ers. It's just interesting that, like, the whole of America, is on the Chiefs. I mean, ain't no way Vegas, loses that much money,
Vegas would lose money, actually, if the Niners won. They had a lot more futures in on them this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to find it interesting that, the Chiefs won, and then now, his other team, the 49ers, can win again. But, I mean, the 42 ritual with Mahomes, I mean, like you said, we can't go against that. But I don't know. That was just my observation.
All right. What's the thought? Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. Yeah. You know, I just like, I'd rant a lot more, but then your videos get taken down and your channels get deleted. That's part of the reason I've lost 20 some channels. But yeah, I mean, for all people are just like, wow. Again, you guys aren't about it. Okay, you don't get it. You don't understand what motivates me to be here every single day. It's because I'm so sick of this world and it needs to wake the fuck up. And most of you guys think you're awake, but you're not. 913.
Is it back?
Yeah, it is.
Hey man, you're on the Gematria channel, right?
That would be the one.
All right. So I have been decoding about the Super Bowl, and I woke up with the scripted sports in 2022. With how bad the sport is being played out, how I can tell the quarterback who's throwing the game's away. And I was watching your stream. I thought it was interesting that you talked about the number 42. Since it's associated with black quarterbacks, have you thought that 42 could be associated with the beast? It says in the Bible.
Absolutely.
Beast, right?
This whole thing's about the beast. It's always about Satan. There's a reason. The word beast is 47. And like you said, the beast rules for 42 months. The Chiefs were in that first Super Bowl in the 47th NFL season. The Super Bowl 55 between goat and baby goat. I mean, they literally had the weekend come out of the sky like he was Satan, a falling angel with glowing red eyes. Not to mention the weekend literally puts Satan up on the billboard at his concerts. And, you know, I mean, the people who run the world are completely satanic. And that's why there's all this ritual sacrifice. And I mean, like, nobody even blinks an eye. Mahomes beats Len Dawson's passing record. What happens at the game? His fiance's father drops dead. I mean, it's just... Len Dawson is the sacrifice last year on Kobe Bryant Day for the rigged Super Bowl for the Chiefs over the Eagles. I mean, this stuff is evil. We're documenting it year in and Norma Hunt dies on June 4th, 6-4, right before the Chiefs' 64th season when Kansas City Chiefs equals 64. And that's the date in history the 49ers were established. I mean, and now here's your Super Bowl. And last time it was this year old Montana was in his 64th year of his life. But yeah, it is. It's always coming back to these biblical riddles and tributes to Satan. And I mean, it's like, what more is there to see? I mean, Kansas City equals 67, like the word satanic. I'm not saying that means Kansas City satanic, but how old's Joe Montana right now? Who's going to die between now and the Super Bowl? Not to mention all the bodies leading up to this. And how many more will die in the days after the Super Bowl, just like it is every year? Well, remember last time we had the Super Bowl 54 matchup in Miami, then who's dead? The Dolphins coach. And I can't remember if he died on April 5th or May 4th. It was one of the two dates, but they can both be written 5-4. You got the former Dolphins coach, Shula, dead right after Super Bowl 54. I mean, it's on and on and on. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I've been decoding these Super Bowl rituals myself, and it's just mind-blowing how all this works and how we were kept a secret from this from our whole lives. And it's messed up. It's messed up, you know. Can you see any 42 connections with the 49ers for this Super Bowl?
49ers does equal 42, yeah.
Okay, so you think they would win it because of the connection with 42, or would it be the Chiefs, you would think?
Well, the Chiefs are 3-2 in Super Bowls right now.
Right.
You see?
I would think they would go 4-2.
Again, you guys go watch my stream last year from the Super Bowl. The first thing that came out of my mouth, and we were talking about this last year if the Chiefs won, we said next year the Super Bowl's on the 42nd day of the year. If the Chiefs win this year, a chance to go back-to-back and potentially get to 4-2 on the 42nd day of the year. So, I mean, this has been a thought that we've had the whole time. And we thought there was a good chance we would get a rematch of – I'll tell you what, had the 49ers had a black quarterback this year, I would have thought it was a lock before the season that this was the Super Bowl. I thought the only thing going against the 49ers this year was that they didn't have a black quarterback. I thought there was a good chance we might get a Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks on the 42nd day of the year. But instead they're doing the black versus white. And again, it's Joe Montana Bowl Part 2, just like we imagined it very well might be. So.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to me. It was great talking to you.
All right. Well, call us back. Good talking to you too. You take care.
You too.
Now, Ro. Oh, shit. That was weird. Ro, sorry, I answered your call, but then it hung up. Ro's going to call back in. Ro, just we're saving the Super Bowl 58 stuff for tomorrow's stream. Some people try to call him the Super Bowl 58, but again, if I didn't have a paid-for sports subscription service, I'd just give it all out to everybody for free like I did back in the day. And if you guys weren't here back in the day, for 5 years, we gave out a lot of very correct sports picks and futures, and I don't charge much. It's just if I start giving out for free, then, like, what are people paying for? You know what I mean? What's up, Ro? Ro. Weird. Now he's calling again on another number. Ro.
Hey, Zach.
Just so you know, we're saving the Super Bowl 58 stuff for tomorrow, but if you got something else, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you before I say anything, would you like me to elaborate anything? But just to go with what you say with the deaths, I remember my first time with you guys in the Gematria community, and you were live streaming the Tom Brady and Mahomes Super Bowl. And Zach, you remember right before the Super Bowl started, we said, watch Martin Schottenheimer go down.
Yeah, right. And he was one of them too. Right.
He died literally, like, I think the next week after the Super Bowl. And we said this right when you were doing the live stream.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah. And then we had Vincent Jackson fall. He died. With the 83 and 38 special with Vincent Jackson.
Oh, that was yeah. Marty Schottenheimer died at 77 right after the Super Bowl, and again Brady born in 77. So they said he died from Alzheimer's, which equals 55 right after Super Bowl 55.
Mm-hmm.
Marty 77. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Vincent Jackson, he died at the age of 38. I know he was number 83 for the Buccaneers. I think he played 83 total games for the Buccaneers or something like that. And
was he the one that they said fell in the shower?
That was a shower death?
One of them was. One of the football players who died at a relatively young age was a shower death.
We all know that was related to the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl.
There have been so many deaths over the years. Yeah, Vincent Jackson, dead at 38 in Florida, shortly after that Super Bowl. Dead on the 46th day of the year, like Tom Brady's 46. Like sacrifices 46.
46.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I got everything. I'm going to keep it for tomorrow. So all you guys who are on the 49ers, good luck. Maybe they should win the first half. That's about it. And there'll be another Mahomes comeback like he does in every Super Bowl. He never wins the first half. So
well, and the other if it is going to be a comeback, Shanahan also has a precedent as coach of giving up big leads. He did it in Super Bowl 54, and he did it in Super Bowl 51 as a coordinator. So.
Yeah, and Mahomes, and like we said, Mahomes never led in the first half in any Super Bowl. So it goes right with the money. With there is all kind of money on Kansas City. It's like overlapping money, but I'm going with the ritual. It's going to be the Chiefs. So,
All right. Thanks, Ro.
I'll be on there tomorrow morning.
All right, sounds good. I don't know why I keep answering calls and then it picks up and then it hangs up. That's today's gimmick. You'll have to call back. Sorry about that. 586.
Yeah, what's going on, man? I just seen that O.J. Simpson just got the news came out. He's got prostate cancer.
Oh, we got to get OJ in the news right before a racially centered Super Bowl on the 42nd day of the year. Didn't I talk about how they use this guy in Orenthal equals 42? And prostate cancer, you'll see this so much.
He played for San Francisco.
Well, here's the other sick thing. Just all the time with black men and prostate cancer. Prostate cancer 59, like slave, like Negro, like blues, like Rasta. Who just died from prostate cancer? Was it Carl Weathers? So one of the deaths I already covered this month was prostate cancer. But notice how all these words are 59 forward, 76 in reverse. We know Carl Weathers died at age 76. Tomorrow, you guys, tomorrow is the 48th anniversary of the federal government recognizing Black History Month in 76. Again, Acts 7:6, slavery in the Bible, Ephesians 6:5-9. But Slavery's 102, like 10/2, and of course it's 42, like February. But anyway, prostate cancer has that 59. Like Black History Month typically ends on the 59th day of the year, and you'll see this all the time with dead black celebrities that they'll say it was prostate cancer. So I'm just saying, how fitting.
It's funny because he's from San Fran, and he played for San Fran in his last year, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then if you were to take the beginning of the season,
oh shit! Look how old he is. Look how old he is.
158.
OJ is 76 right now. You had Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish arrested at the start of the month in a 76 102 ritual. Then you had the death of Carl Weathers in a 76 102 ritual. There was something else that I'm already forgetting. Now you got OJ with the 59 76 ritual. You just had it with the member of the Whalers. He also got it. Synced up with the One Love movie coming out, dead on the 34th day of the year when Black and One Lover. Again, you guys, like all my haters, what's wrong with you? The guy from the Whalers is dead 11 days before One Love comes out, and he's dead on the 34th day of the year. I mean, come on, man. Start Black History Month when Rasta's also got that 59-76 thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's got the 158 too. Again, if you had the end date from the beginning of the season to the Super Bowl, it's 158 days. So, yeah, just funny. Good old the Juice. Maybe he drops dead tomorrow. Who knows?
Well,
So,
my guess is he probably.
To your attention, and I'll call in tomorrow.
I'm guessing he doesn't have that much time left with this little news story being released today.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
It's 215 days after his birthday. That's the Philadelphia area code. Or you could say it's his 216th day of his age. That's the Cleveland area code. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I got to go back and look at his football history. There's a huge connection in sports with Philly and the Bay, and like that 215 thing. Again, Warriors, athletics. The other Philly area code's 267. Last year, the Niners stayed on 267 road wins, losing in the NFC Championship to the Eagles. But yeah, it's so obvious, man. It's OJ from San Francisco right before the Super Bowl. News comes in right before. Sure, just another coincidence. All right. Well, if we don't have any more calls, we can wrap it up. Last call for calls. You want to phone in, be part of the stream, do something that adds meaning. Numbers up on the screen, 509-560-4982. For the troll who says nothing can be verified, I mean, well, I guess the verification is that we've been nailing futures and all the stats can be verified. I mean, what are you talking about? God. 516?
Hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to call in tomorrow. I have some obligations to take care of. Is there any chance I can call you after the stream right now to tell you what I found?
I'm going to stream again Sunday morning.
Okay.
I'm calling Sunday morning.
Sunday it is.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. 214? Weird. I don't know why so many calls I'm picking up and then it just hangs up. Let me look up the definition of charlatan. The trolls write that a lot. Zach is a charlatan. Let's see who the charlatan is. A person falsely claiming to have a special knowledge or skill, a fraud. Well, where would I fit that definition since my work's panned out? Again, have we smoked the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 48 when I began? Yes. How many futures have we nailed? Way more than anybody. Does the knowledge pan out every day? Yes. Did we not just talk about Orenthal and 42 in the history of race in the NFL only for there to be a headline today about Orenthal? I mean, like, you got to be brain dead. My trolls are the charlatans. 347.
Yeah, remember in the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Furman, how many times he
Right.
said that,
Right. You're right. Yeah. Look that up, you guys. In the O.J. Simpson trial, it was like Mark Furman's secretary. Yeah. She testified that he used the N-word 42 times. And what's the N-word equal in gematria? Oh, it equals 42. Just like slavery, just like Jackie, just like Martin, who lives in apartment 42, just like Malcolm X. You know, think about none of these guys, they were given these names. Malcolm X, 42, Muhammad Ali, 42. How about Huxtable for Cosby Show in February? On and on and on and on and on. So, yeah.
In the court transcripts, it says it that it states it's 42 times. He states it's a mockery.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Zach. Thank you.
Yeah, good reminder. Appreciate it. Oh, we got a no caller ID. Is it a troll? No caller ID?
Hey, Zachary Greenblatt, checking in again.
Do you guys get paid to troll, or is this just how you amuse yourselves?
No, I'm unpaid, Zachary. I'm just a fan of the truth, the real truth, which is trolling your bitch ass.
Does it pay anything?
It don't pay a dime, buddy. Like your ass gets paid by the CIA.
So why would the CIA pay me to expose what I'm exposing?
Me and Sports Gematria do this for free, baby. We do it all day long.
How come? So you're going to reference that troll? How come he doesn't have the balls to call in here and debate? Why is he sitting there at his computer screen recording right now but won't call in?
You would not let him call in for a second, Zach.
Well, why wouldn't I? I'm letting you call in.
You didn't know it was me.
But don't I let trolls talk?
Yeah, for a certain amount of time, but
You're right, and yours is up. All right. What's up, 561?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? I just want to call you, tell you, man, I'm a big fan of your work. But I want to ask, have you heard anything about this Congresswoman by the name of Cori Bush? On January 30th, she was, I guess, the Department of Justice launched an investigation on her for misusing funds, and she paid, I guess, $60,000 for her husband to be, part of the put on payroll for security. And I noticed she's a Black Lives Matter activist, and it happened 173 days from her birthday. And I typed in Black Lives Matter, and it typed in it equal 173.
Yeah.
Her full name actually equals 59 as well, and she was born in 76. So I'm pretty sure it's something to that.
Yeah, I think you decoded it right there. Plus, she's from St. Louis, kind of where Black Lives Matter popped off after Michael Brown.
Yeah. So
And by the way, do you remember when Michael Brown died? When they put out the image of the police officer, do you remember what was on his shirt?
No, I don't.
I'll go back and show you. I'll put it up here on the screen. Try to remember. His name was Darren Wilson, I think. Let me see. What was on his shirt was a big old 42 and the word blues for the St. Louis Blues, and of course, blues equals 59. But yeah, this was the first image they put out at Darren Wilson, the cop who killed Michael Brown. They had to give you the 42 treatment. And it's like Rodney King's born on 4-2, and his name equals 59. But here it is. Let me get it up.
Right.
Darren Wilson. That was the first image the media put out when they revealed the Michael Brown killer. And both Ferguson and Missouri equal 42. So.
Damn, I overlooked that, but.
And that goes with the Super Bowl too, right? Missouri's the 24th state with the 42 Gematria, playing on the 42nd day of the year.
So I was trying to see if that had any correlation with the Super Bowl. I know you'd probably be able to connect that.
Well, you know what's interesting about her birthday? Her birthday is the 202nd day of the year. I know that off the top of my head because she has the same birthday as me. And again, Missouri's 202 years old right now, and San Francisco equals 202. And Andy Reid, this is going to be his 202nd game with the Chiefs. So yeah, she might be part of the ritual. I see she's 47. Like the first Super Bowl was the 47th season. The Chiefs lost to the Packers in that one. But
right. Damn. Well, I'm gonna say before I go, man, I just want to say I truly appreciate you, man. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Because when I do my little decodes on Facebook, I always give your books a shout out. And I just, I'm just thankful that I came along your information a few years back. I always was into numerology, and a friend of mine, they gave me your book. And I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of first when I first read it. I think it was about 4 years, almost a little over 4 years ago, right before Kobe died. But what ended up making me go back to your book was when I seen Kobe had died on the 26th, and I remember reading your first chapter on the number 26,
and it being the God number, and you know, and that it just, I just, you know, took off from there. But I just want to say thank you, man. Don't stop doing what you're doing and keep giving it to them haters.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I appreciate the support. Thank you for shouting out the work. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. I do it every chance I get.
All right, appreciate that very much. By the way, what's your channel? What's your channel?
I don't really have a channel. I just be on Facebook. You go to my page. I'm Anthony Wilson. I don't really have any, like, you know, I'm not on Twitter or anything like that.
Anthony Wilson. That's the YouTube channel?
Well, I don't have, I mean, I have a YouTube, but I don't really be on it, but I shout you out on Facebook. That's
on Facebook. All right, Anthony Wilson on Facebook. I'll look for you. I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
All right. Yeah, take care.
Peace.
See, my problem is, you guys, I'm just too honest. Like, my trolls always just want to come here and retwist my words and clip things and make it sound the way it wasn't. Like, I just banned a guy in the chat because he's saying, I remember when you said you want to call black people the N-word. Okay, what was the context of what I was saying? I was explaining how we're all programmed from living in this society and this culture, and we learn these words. And what I was saying is, when I get mad, when I have like a black troll, I said that word gets on the tip of my tongue too. I still don't say it, but it's there. Just like in the same way when I get mad and I'm talking shit to people, you say things to piss people off. Well, unless you're more mature, but I don't use the word. I was saying how I have the same programming in me that so many other people do. But see, trolls always want to clip that. And they want to like, see, Zach wants to call black people the N-word. That's not the point I was making. The point I was making that I have the same programming in me everybody else does. You know, all the trolls who sit here and try to like spin things to what they're not, you guys should look in the mirror. You're the real racists. I've been sticking up for people of darker complexions nonstop since I've been here for a decade. And that's the bottom line. All right, what's up, 216?
Yo, Zach, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, I swear, man, I just caught the stream live, and the first thing I saw on the screen was a clip of you have an OJ on the screen.
Right. Today's headline about OJ with the prostate cancer, the latest 59 ritual.
Now, check this out, man. Now, Wednesday, I wanted to call in to the show, you know, TFR, and I had like a small decode on O.J. Simpson, but I know it's okay, TFR didn't happen on Wednesday night. So when I just hopped on, you know, YouTube, I see talking about O.J. But check this out about O.J. Simpson right now. O.J. Simpson has been like a pariah in, you know, mainstream media for years, but however, he is a weekly sportscaster on the podcast or the YouTube show with Mace and Cameron called It Is What It Is. He comes on the show once a week, right?
Wait, Mason Cameron have a hold on. Wait. Mason Cameron have a podcast that goes on right now?
Yeah, it's been on for almost a year. It's a sports podcast. You know what I'm saying? But they really just talk about, you know, everyday life, but they mix it in with sports. You know, a lot of different celebrities come to the show, whatever, what have you. But O.J. Simpson has been a regular guest on the show like once a week. He's the football analyst, the NFL football analyst, right? So I guess the numbers on O.J., and I want to bring this up on TFI because, I mean, I have it in front of me right now, man, but the numbers that I pulled up was that the show is what it is. If you score those words out, I believe it's down to 58. This is Super Bowl 58. If you break down the title of the show, It Is What It Is, the one you put on screen is put 2 I's, W, and 2 I's for It Is What It Is. That's down to 76. I believe O.J. is currently 76 years old. And I believe his first name also comes with, also equates to like the name of the show as well. I think it's like 40 or 41. But, you know, and his former team, the 49ers, are in the Super Bowl. And I remember like walking through the grocery store not too long ago, you know, I was like, you know, standing in line looking at the magazines, and on the front page of one of the magazines was the front story was how O.J. Simpson's health is bad and he's not looking good. But I don't know, man. I was putting all this together like maybe O.J. could possibly be the next, you know, unfortunately, you know, ritual sacrifice for the Super Bowl, especially if the 49ers win or lose. You know, whether they win or lose, O.J. could be a part of it. But one other thing I wanted to say about the Super Bowl is how you've been saying all year how, even before this year, how the Kobe Bryant ritual and his death has been somehow connected to the Kansas City Chiefs, but more specifically Patrick Mahomes. Now, if Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, he'll be 3-2 in Super Bowls. He'll become 3-2 in Super Bowls. However,
No.
if he loses this, correct me on that, Zach. You be what?
No, Mahomes is 2-1 in Super Bowls right now. His own record. The Chiefs are 3-2 in Super Bowls. Like Kansas City equals 32 and Chiefs is 32. He's 2-1 right now.
So more likely he'll become 2-2. I was just about to say, because I was thinking it was the other way around. So since you're telling me that, that means that more likely he'll become 2-2. And since he's connected to Kobe, and the statue just got, you know, unveiled, okay, Kobe Bryant wore the numbers 8 and numbers 24. It's not like the date 8/24, August 24th. And if you go to the 13-moon calendar, if you go to the second moon in the second month, 2-2, a lot like if the Chiefs become, or if Patrick Mahomes becomes 2-2 in the Super Bowl, the second moon in the second month on the 13-moon calendar is August 24th, 8/24. You know, so hold up, that means he could lose that. I had to correct myself. So if he's 2-1, that means he could fall to 2-2. Because
for just to play devil's advocate, okay, his first Super Bowl was on February 2nd, 22. It was on 2-2. You might recall how 2-2 that Super Bowl was. But he did win that game with 31 points, like Chiefs equals 31. And it is the 3 seed versus the 1 seed, just like how in both conference championships, it was the 3 seed versus the 1 seed. And we know his daddy just got his 3rd DUI. But yeah, you can make an argument both ways.
Well, I called him thinking that he would become 3-2, so I was correct on that. He could fall to 2-2. And if he has the relationship, whether him himself personally and the Kansas City Chiefs as a whole has a relationship to Kobe Bryant, and then that 2-2 could end up falling against him, whereas he could fall to 2-2 in Super Bowl. And if you go to the 13-moon calendar, the second moon in the second month is August 24th. Kobe's numbers, 8/24. But yeah, that's all pretty much I had for the night, man.
All right. Appreciate the thoughts as always. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, later. Yeah, unfortunately, he's a veteran caller. Lately, his phone signal's been off. I don't know why that is, but I could still make it out. It was a little rattly, but it was hearable. Yeah, you know, I mean, the thing is for my trolls, I have, for people who don't know, I've been putting out content every day for over a decade and a lot of content every day. And yeah, sometimes I say things that I probably shouldn't have said, but what they do is they just sit there and they just try to cut up everything. It's just like literally the troll loser who never calls in. We went 5-1 between the conference championship round and divisional round. He's like cutting up parts of the streams to make it look like we did awful. It's like, we went 5-1 and hit the majority of our player props, including the first Kittle touchdown for 10-1 odds. Kiss my ass, troll. What's up, 772?
Hey, Zach, what's up? I just wanted to say that me and Trey are live in like an hour doing a stream on my channel.
Okay.
If people want to tune into that. Truth does not exist. You guys can watch it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say.
All right. All right. Truth does not exist is the channel on YouTube. And RPM Trey Vietnam, whose T-shirt I got on. He'll be on with him. All right. All right.
But yeah, a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but Google has really not wanted us to do this. Like every time I left a comment on his channel, it instantly gets deleted. I have like a video on how fast my comments are getting deleted on his channel. And like he tried to contact me and I didn't get anything. So it's just been like a nightmare. But yeah, it's gonna happen anyway. Fuck these
losers on at Google trying to stop it. It's not going to stop. Message is going to get out there. So.
All right. I look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, and nonstop trolls too. And you know what I had? I had the live stream room open, and some trolls were in there like playing porn. Like they went in and were like, I mean, nobody could see it, so it's not like I had to take anything down.
Yeah. That's what you got to watch out for. That's how bad the trolls are. If you guys missed it, last year I had a nice live stream going during March Madness, and then I let a troll in a room like this on the link, and he comes up on the screen. And then once he gets on, he puts the camera on, and he's got the camera on his genitals to ruin the whole stream. So I had to take it down. But it's just like, that's how pathetic these people are.
Yeah, and sorry, troll, but I already knew that you were a troll because I have ESP. I already know who the fucking trolls are when they call in. I can just by hearing their voice, I know it's a troll. And like just by seeing the guy was like Truth Seeker Jake, I just knew that it was a troll. There was like nothing that gave it away, but I just fucking knew because I have remote viewing skills. And it's like so these people fool me. Like, you know, these people are idiots. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Good luck with the Super Bowl.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. Right now, the phone's getting blown up by no caller ID, but didn't quite switch over quick enough. It's 4:20 out here on the West Coast. Reminds me what a good job I've been doing of not partaking. But all right. Yeah, I do want to wrap it up. So again, if you want to join us tomorrow to talk Super Bowl 58, really break it down, see if we can nail some more first touchdown type of prop bets. Those are the big payouts. Join us on Patreon. Links in the description. It's just patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. And let's see if we have a no caller ID that's not a troll. No caller ID.
Right. I agree with you, Zachary. They get you so mad, right? It's okay to say the N-word, right? As long as
Yeah, it's the same guy that was spazzing out like a mental case the other day. Glad to see he was a little bit calmed down there. What's up, 203? 203? 203. Well, they didn't want to say anything. Stage fright. Yeah. Again, it's always amazing just how many haters I have that just dedicate all their time to harassing and trolling and texting and phone calls and being on my Patreon, leaving crazy comments and trying to make it look like they're me with fake accounts. It's just like, nobody, I don't think anybody else in the world has trolls on their Patreon page. So outside of the sports gematria decoding community. And obviously it's like, well, if it's so dumb what we're doing, then why do we have like people harassing us 24/7, 365? Isn't it obvious that like here's the way I look at it. It's like the league does not like what we're exposing. So I don't know if like members of the league like have some worthless offspring, just like low lives, and they're like, listen, we'll give you some money so you can buy some Snickers bars. All you gotta do is troll Zachary today. Here's one of them. Hey, are you calling in to get your Snickers money?
oh, yeah, sure. Cool. The N's playing. It's at the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the name though. It begins with an N.
Okay, and then he hung up. Great call. 214.
Yo, Zach.
Yo.
What you think? So one of my coworkers, he doesn't know nothing about gematria. He told me about the number 13 on TikTok going crazy about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And even the normies know about these numbers. The number 13, Taylor Swift, everything 13. He's falling for the trap. Niners, Rock Party, number 13. So I know you want to talk about it tomorrow. We can talk about it tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. Again, in gematria, NFL's 13, so is KC. Super Bowl's 41, the 13th prime. So, yeah.
I just thought it was crazy. Taylor Swift, her album, her intro was 13 seconds. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah. All scripted. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, man.
Yeah. People only hear about things if it's viral. 419.
Yeah.
419.
Yep, I'm calling in. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I started watching your videos probably about like, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. And as a kid, I always thought like stuff like this was scripted. But once I found your channel, I found out how. I just want to know, like, how far back do you think that they've been doing this? Like, do you think this was going on like early when sports first started? Is this like something from the 2000s? Like, how far back, how long they've been doing this?
Well, we literally just went through every Super Bowl and showed how scripted they all were. So they've been doing it since the beginning.
Okay. And what is a good video to show like somebody that I'm just trying to break into Gematria?
This one, just tell them to watch as much of this video as they can from the beginning.
Okay. And that's really all I had. That's really all I have.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I should have started with in the beginning too, how last year Mahomes won it in State Farm Stadium doing the State Farm ads. This should have been at the beginning of the thing. State Farm 103 went into the Super Bowl 10-3 in the playoffs, emerged 11-3 against the Eagles. But again, there was plenty there. You didn't even need that piece. There's so many layers to the script. And then all this year for the 104th season, you've been looking at the State Farm bundle ad with Mahomes. You know. I guess for all you 49er guys, I guess there is one interesting thing in bundle there, isn't there? It's interesting. It's interesting. All right, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, you guys. This has been a long stream. Thank you to the 4 people who gave a super chat. Shout out to Spatium Viator. We're talking about the 201s with Brady. Shout out to the Gold Eagle. We looked into the death of Mac Lee Hill, 58 years. But yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, because they're in Super Bowl 58. Andy Reid on 58 losses with the Chiefs. He died 58 years ago. Nevada is the 36th state. It's crazy to think how long, I mean, isn't it sad to think that man might have been sacrificed all those years ago for this, for the ongoing script? And Jehovah's Thickness, again, we talked about the kill date and how to calculate it. Thank you again, Jehovah's Thickness. For years, I've been talking about making a calendar at the beginning of the year with key dates. Okay. Truth does not exist. Hitting the 4:20 West Coast time in Florida. All right, young guy. Preserve those lungs. Well, Gematria, to say it's not far-fetched at all is kind of a lame statement, honestly. It's the greatest proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that there ever was exposing how rigged sports are. And that's why there's no one in the history of the world that has a better track record than yours truly of calling futures and Super Bowls and the time I've been aware of the knowledge, which is also a fact. All right, one more call, 931.
Zach, my nigga, how you doing, man?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm not calling you. I'm a supporter. Trust me. But nah, man, it's good to hear from you. I know you're not big on. I've been following you for a while. I know you're not big on doing like live reactions and stuff like that. But I think honestly, I know you've been worried a lot about. Excuse me. I know you've been worried a lot about like viewership and like trying to help yourself with the algo and all that. Maybe you should do a live reaction to this Tucker Carlson Putin interview. Well, that's not really a thing.
Well, how boring was it? I mean, literally, how boring was it? And again, all you had to watch was the first 5 minutes, because I just showed the other day why they were having the meeting when they were, what a Jesuit ritual it was, and what does Putin start with? Putin starts how it all goes back to the history of the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. And just like, for people who don't know, we predicted what day that war would begin before it began, dead on the nose. And it began on the day in history that the Catholic Church's Gregorian calendar was implemented. And again, I mean, it was so boring. I don't want to do a reaction video of that, but literally in the beginning, I mean, you heard all you needed to hear. He said it all went back to the history of the church.
No, that's fact. That's what I'm just saying. Just the fact that it's gaining so much traction, it's just like you can break it down and then implement what you're trying to teach into it. I'm just thinking.
I put out a short video on my Gematria Effect News about why they were doing it when the day they did, and just for the record, it was also 88 days after the Superior General's birthday, just going with the whole Jesuit thing. So.
Yeah, sure. I will say it is pretty interesting. I still gotta I didn't catch everything because I was like trying to listen while I was at work, but I will say this: it is pretty interesting that Putin called him out for like trying to join the sheep.
You know, I got to admit though, you know, I liked how Putin was hinting. For people who don't know, Tucker Carlson's family's from the intelligence agencies, and he's probably CIA too. But that's why when Tucker Carlson asked him who blew up the pipeline, he said, "You did." And then he was like, "What? I didn't do it. I had an alibi." And he goes, "But the CIA didn't." And that's why he said you did, because he knows that he's part of the intelligence networks. So, and I get so sick of how all these people who just woke up and they think they're awake, and they just woke up in recent years, supposedly, and they think Tucker Carlson's some truth teller when he's the biggest, smarmiest piece of shit there ever was, who spent 10 years after 9/11 slandering anybody who questioned what went on that day. That guy, like any of you guys who think Tucker Carlson's a hero, pull your head out of your ass. That guy's a piece of shit. So.
Wow. Controlled opposition, huh?
That's all he's ever been. Yeah, he's a little cocksucker. He used to be on CNN.
So. Yeah, I'll say. I'm just saying it is, albeit whether I mean the world's a stage, right? Like the saying goes, the world's a stage. But hey, just from I was just thinking, puzzle pieces, trying to help. But I understand what you mean. But yeah, I know you want to go ahead and get off stream, so I'll go ahead and log off. But I'm gonna stay in touch because I'm actually working on a project myself, and I'd love to get your opinion on it.
Here, just in case you didn't see this, so the interview was confirmed for February 6th, and then it debuted, of course, yesterday. But the day that it was confirmed by the Kremlin was 122 days after Putin's birthday, 266 days after Tucker Carlson's, and where those numbers connect is the Jesuits. Their motto, Jesus Hominum Salvator, is 266 and 122, and Pope Francis is 122, and he's the 266th Pope in the history of the church. Just like how when Kobe died, synced up with the Pope, it was 266 days after his wife's birthday. And again, you guys, Kobe died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass like Kobe Bryant's 41. Yesterday, they put up the statue on 54-date numerology on the Pope's 54th day of his age, when Kobe Bean Bryant's 54, and so is Gianna Bryant, and you add their ages together, 41 plus 13 is 54. Again, it's Jesuits doing all this stuff. So.
Hey, listen, there's another thing, too. Kremlin is 82. Like, I think, is it Kobe Bryant or Kobe Bean Bryant?
Well, Bryant's 82, like how they put up the statue on 8-2, and you're right. The interview was aired on 8-2, absolutely.
Incredible, man. Like I said, the world's a stage.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I'll be in touch. Definitely want to talk to you about some things. But hey, to all you bitch ass motherfuckers trying to hate on my boy Zach, man, touch grass, touch some pussy, whatever you find first. Quit touching yourself, you bitches.
Exactly.
Right,
well said. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, again, I covered the new stuff on Gematria Effect News 25, and I don't do that much on the sports channel because the sports channel is a dead channel. Like, YouTube's literally, like, just destroyed. That's why this channel gets no notifications, no views. It's just, I mean, it still exists, but look how many people are watching the stream between. I'm streaming on 3 different platforms right now. We have 500 total viewers. That's shit. If this was a live stream back in the day, it would have, 10,000 people on here. They have wrecked me with the algorithm. Here, just to take us out to one more troll. The supposedly not paid for trolls that hang around 24/7, 365. What is it, Lil Willie?
For all you people hating on Jeff, the guy hasn't even touched puberty yet. The guys are why are you gonna listen to Kermit the Frog? He's a racist too. You think you're yellow there.
But for anyone who was watching the stream the other day where the mentally ill guy called in, it's the same guy. He leaves me at least one crazy voicemail a day. It's just like, God. Anyway. All right, we'll leave it there, you guys. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, Putin wears the red. Putin wears the red Kabbalah string, and so does Tucker Carlson. If you guys don't know that, if you ever see anybody in a red string bracelet, that's a reference to the red thread of Kabbalah that connects all things in life. And again, this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from Kabbalah. So literally, both Putin and Tucker Carlson wear that. All right. Yeah. But again, hey, trolls, I just want to thank you guys for calling in and reminding what I always state. All of my critics are losers, mentally ill, worthless human beings. I think you guys all did a good job of cementing my point. And again, thank you everyone who hit the like and the share. It is a long video. If you got here late, we did go run through every Super Bowl. And it took me a minute to understand Super Bowl 11, but we got a good call once I started taking calls. And then we realized something amazing about Super Bowl 11. It was the one that stumped me the most. But then it was all unlocked with one great phone call. Shout out to Nick, who says, until next time, True Seeker. I appreciate that, Nick. Thanks to you, we made a small fraction of what the shills make when they get on here and just pander bullshit. And by the way, just for one more thing, I saw people when I was ranting earlier. If you guys missed the rant, there was a rant bomb in the middle of this. But some of you guys were like, "CZAG, this is why your channel never grows." Do you know how wrong you guys are? God, I was just watching this guy who's, well, I'm starting to realize. There's some guy, I think his name's Saints and Sinners or something like that. If you guys are familiar with this channel, Sinners and Saints, something like that. But his channel came up in my feed. I'd never seen it before. And I just wanted to check it out. It was actually about the Tucker Carlson Putin thing. And I was like, well, let's see who this guy is. He's got a bunch of views. Let's see who he is. I never heard of him. And I started to watch the video. And I was sitting back. I was like, oh, I actually like this guy, man. He was saying some things right off the top. He was ranting and talking all kinds of shit. And I was like, I like this guy. Who's this guy that's gotten the big views? This might be the only legit guy with a big subscriber count on YouTube. But then as it went on, I was starting to go like, wait a minute, what did he just say? Wait a minute, he's saying he thinks Rand Paul's a legit person. Are you serious? Learn Gematria, dude, and see what a puppet this guy is. Rand Paul, total puppet. And for anyone that doesn't think that, like I said, learn Gematria and then pay attention and see how big of a puppet he is. But then he also got in this thing where somebody called him out there like, oh, I see you're spending your super chat money on gold watches, because he was wearing some really fancy gold watch. And then he's like, yeah, am I a sellout? And then he goes, I'll put it this way, is Joe Biden slow? And then he laughs. And then all these other super chats pour in. I was like, can you imagine if I was doing a stream like that and I was bragging about, oh, look at my new, however much that watch cost, probably cost $20,000. And not to mention at the bottom of the stream, he's bragging about how much money he makes in his live streams. And I got to admit, at the beginning of the stream, I did like it. What he was saying was true, and he was well-spoken. So, I was impressed. But then again, compared to what I put out, it's not shit, to be perfectly honest. Sorry, guys. I know you guys think it's arrogant, but really, nobody else is putting out a message that is even comparable to what we're doing over here, okay? We proved how rigged and scripted the game was and what's really going on. While the whole Truth Committee was telling you Trump was going to win the last election, we're like, no, it's going to be Joe Biden, number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Catholic 46. This is easy. What do you think they sacrificed Bo Biden at 46 for? Again, nobody else's message is even comparable. There might be people who speak nicer, got a better flow and tone to their voice, but their message ain't shit, and they don't have anything figured out half as well as we do. Not even a fraction. But the point I'm making is this guy can literally flaunt this gold watch and admit that he's sold out and then start feeding bullshit to his audience at the end of the stream like he did. And then just even more super chats pour in. It's just like, meanwhile, I'm over here breaking down every Super Bowl, showing how rigged the game is. And hardly anyone's got a dollar, like always. So anyway, we'll keep putting out the truth because it's not about money. But just realize the people who get flooded with super chats and whose channels are allowed to grow, it's because they're not a threat to anything. What I do is a major threat to the establishment, literally exposing the whole game. It's why they have to take down the channel. It's why they got to harass me 24/7. When I'm allowed to talk about things, I'll let you know what just happened to me 201 days after my birthday. You'd never guess who I got a visit from. But, yeah, and again, it's not an accident that just happened here right before. They were probably trying to make sure I stay home and don't travel down to the Super Bowl, but anyhow, thank you to the people who do support the work. Wish there were more of you, and that's also why I rant. That's also why I know how pathetic society is. If society wasn't pathetic, there'd be just we'd have so many funds. We'd have the biggest news network in the world. But it's not that way because people don't want the truth. They want to believe the lies. They want to turn into things that are about politics and bullshit, and they keep them in the matrix because that's where they want to be. That's why they need to go. Flush them all down the toilet. Shout out to the real ones. Until next time, True Seeker.